Chapter 1849. The experts from the Qin clan were expelled by the Tiandao Sacred Academy. The expressions of the other experts flashed. Before this, the Tiandao Sacred Academy was pressured by the various peak powers and finally compromised to open the legendary place, allowing the experts from the various peak powers to enter. Most probably, the Qin clan must be filled with resentment in their hearts. Since everyone wanted to enter the legendary place, my Tiandao Sacred Academy opened the door and allowed the disciples of the various peak powers to enter. Now that everyone has exited, can you all leave now? The life-governed heavenly deity spoke. Clearly, this was an order for them to leave. Many peak powers came here to suppress them, there was no need for them to be polite. Right now, the various peak powers have already achieved what they wanted. What else did they want to do to the Tiandao Sacred Academy? Even if they really wanted to do something, they would have to consider the mysterious headmaster who had yet to appear. We have disturbed the Sacred Academy. We will bid our farewell now. The Reverend from the Pure Land of Bliss bid his farewell. After that, the Buddhist cultivators all pressed their palms together and bowed to the Tiandao Sacred Academy before departing. Grand Masters, please take care. The life-governed heavenly deity replied, returning the courtesy. After that, the various experts respectively left. There was no meaning in staying any longer. At the same time they left, the heavenly deities inquired about what happened in the legendary place. This was the first time the legendary place of the Tiandao Sacred Academy was open to the public. They naturally wanted to know what was inside exactly. Goddess Nikhang also silently departed, not leaving behind a single word. Qin Wentian watched as her silhouette vanished. She didn't turn her head back at all. Qin Wentian could only keep that gratitude in his heart. The last ones who didn't leave were the experts from the Luotian clan. The eyes of the two world overlords from the Luotian clan flashed. It could be said that they had completely fallen out with Luotian Lei. It was just that before this, they didn't know that Qin Wentian had the bloodline of their Luotian clan in his body. When Qin Wentian's identity was exposed, they had already died in the hands of Luotian Lei in the world of reincarnation. Now that they learned of this, many thoughts flashed through their minds. The fuse for the conflict between their Luotian Lei's faction was none other than that incident in the past. One could say that it was because of Qin Wentian's parents. Right now, the descendant of the main character actually appeared. The heavenly deity of the Luotian clan stared at Qin Wentian, wanting to see through him. Elder brother, I will return to the Luotian clan first. Luotian Lei spoke to Qin Wentian. Now that Qin Wentian's identity was revealed to the world, there were some things she had to report to her maternal grandfather. She wanted to see what attitude the Luotian clan had exactly. Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian nodded. Qin Wentian nodded. As he spoke, he coldly glanced at the other two world overlords of the Luotian clan. In the world of reincarnation, the conflict between them intensified. With a heavenly deity present, they naturally wouldn't be able to fight. But after they returned, there would surely be a storm in the Luotian clan. For this matter, his maternal grandfather, who was also Leier's grandfather, most probably wouldn't let this matter rest. I know. Luotian Lei nodded. She naturally understood Qin Wentian's meaning. World Overlord Lifeless also cast a deep glance at Qin Wentian. After that, the group of people from the Luotian clan departed. Before that heavenly deity left, he still stared at Qin Wentian. There were many questions in his heart and he could only find out about them through Luotian Lei. Very swiftly, the experts from the various regions all left. Even for Devilox, he left together with the people from the Divine Ox clan. He had truly offended Qin Wentian deeply. Divine Sound World Overlord was very unhappy with him. If he continued to stay in Tiandao Sacred Academy, it wouldn't be beneficial to him. Divine Sound World Overlord was much stronger compared to him and Qin Wentian's current strength most probably wouldn't be inferior to him. Other than cultivating the evil arts, the strength Qin Wentian comprehended in the world of reincarnation would also be available to him after he returned to the real world. Back then during the battle in the world of reincarnation, before Luo Shenlei imparted the evil arts to Qin Wentian was already extremely powerful. The storm seemed to have ended just like that. However, no one knew what the consequences of what happened in the legendary place would be. Outside Tiandao's sacred academy, there were still countless experts gathered. There were also guests from all directions in Daoask City. Right now, seeing the major powers leaving, all of them were trying to find out what happened in the sacred academy. However, only those from the peak powers knew the truth. Clearly, the news wouldn't circulate so quickly. After Qin Dangtian was flung out of Tiandao's sacred academy, he was still in Daoask City. He transmitted his voice, telling the 3 experts from the Qin clan to meet up with him. At the same time, he transmitted his voice to goddess Nikhang, let's return to the heaven region together. No need, I will return by myself. Goddess Nikhang calmly replied. Qin Dangtian frowned but he didn't say anything. He replied, that's fine as well. Be careful on the way back. The experts from the Qin clan rushed over to meet up with him. Qin Dangtian then asked, tell me about it. He was naturally asking about what happened in the legendary place. As for Qin Wentian, he would temporarily put him aside and let him live a little longer. The legendary place is a world of reincarnation. After we entered, we seemed to have tens of years of memories. Also, the world inside is very similar to the outside world. We were also born in a dual-faction Qin aristocrat clan. As for the other Qin clan, Qin Wentian was born there. At that time, we were all puzzled. If the world of reincarnation reflected reality, why would he be born in the dual-faction Qin clan? Only after that did we know the reason. An expert coldly spoke. After that, they told Qin Dangtian about what happened in the world of reincarnation. After Qin Dangtian heard everything, his eyes flashed with a strange light. Could it be that the creator of the legendary place knows heaven's will and the fate of all lives? Also, even now, you guys still don't know who it was that entered the sacred palace in the sky? No idea, no one admitted to it. However, there's one more thing that I don't know if I should tell you or not. An expert from the Qin clan solemnly spoke, feeling somewhat hesitant. Qin Dangtian glanced at him and calmly spoke, speak. His tone caused the experts from the Qin clan to feel uncomfortable in their hearts. Qin Dangtian could be considered their junior but there was nothing they could do about it. He was a heavenly deity, the heaven's son. Also, he had always been like this. Even when he was humiliated by the Tiandao Sacred Academy not long ago, his arrogance didn't change. Goddess, there's an unclear relationship between her and Qin Wentian in the world of reincarnation. An expert spoke. Qin Dangtian's eyes gleamed with sharpness as he stared at him. What did you say? Nikhang has a connection with that vile spawn? Yes, this matter is absolutely true. The relationship between the two of them in the world of reincarnation most probably wasn't ordinary. Because of this, we had some conflicts with goddess Nikhang. But since we returned to the outside world, we can forget about everything. After all, she is a woman you hold in high regard. Another expert spoke. Clearly, the 3 of them had discussed this beforehand. If not, if Qin Dangtian learned of their dirty thoughts in the world of reincarnation, the consequences would be extremely dire. However, given goddess Nichang's personality, it was impossible for her to take the initiative to complain about such a matter. If Qin Dangtian really had suspicions, given his pride, he wouldn't ask directly. There was a very high chance that this matter could be covered up. Qin Dangtian's eyes flashed with sharpness. With regards to the words of the experts from the Qin clan, he believed them a little because he knew some things that they didn't. Goddess Nichang's grandfather, Chu Shen, was not only acquainted with his grandfather, Qin Ding, Chu Shen was also acquainted with that vile spawn's grandfather, Qin Tiangang. No wonder Nikhang wanted him to return alone. Was it because of this as well? Let's return first. Qin Dangtian coldly spoke. After that, the group of them left, preparing to return to the Qin clan of the Heaven region first. They still had to report the existence of that vile spawn to their father. Right now, they still didn't know the age of that vile spawn. They needed to know when he was born, and from there, they would be able to deduce some things. If that vile spawn didn't cultivate for a very long time, this meant that the person who should have died might not have died yet. If that vile spawn didn't die, things would truly be interesting. The people from the Ziwei divine court also left. The junior apprentice brother of that heavenly deity as well as his two disciples all surrounded Yu Changkong, forming a triangular formation, surrounding him. This scene caused that heavenly deity to understand that something must have happened in the legendary place. Before they got too far, that heavenly deity calmly spoke, "What's the matter? Speak." Senior brother. His junior apprentice brother, Yu Changkong's martial uncle, wanted to speak, but Yu Changkong directly knelt on the ground. Master, disciple became a beggar in the world of reincarnation and suffered endless humiliation. I was bewitched and cultivated an evil art that could devour the cultivation bases of others. After that, I encountered martial uncle and two senior brothers. Because my mind has long been corrupted by the evil art, I decided to act against martial uncle and senior brothers. Disciple's crime deserves 10,000 deaths, and I don't dare to beg for mercy. I only hate that I can no longer receive Master's teachings. I beg Master to grant me death. You still have the face to say this? Yu Changkong's martial uncle stared at the figure kneeling on the ground. His killing intent grew sharper. Was Yu Changkong trying to gain sympathy? Did he treat them as fools? Senior brother, even if he was bewitched by the evil art, it's not to the extent where he can't be controlled. Yu Changkong has the heart to destroy his ancestors. For the sake of strength, he is willing to do anything. Since he wishes for death, senior brother, let's grant him his wish. That hegemonic level world overlord spoke. Master, Yu Changkong deserves death. The other two also spoke. They didn't obtain anything in the world of reincarnation because they died too early. Everything was given to them by Yu Changkong. Evil art? The heavenly deity frowned. What's going on? What happened in the legendary place? Senior brother, the legendary place is a world of reincarnation. When we entered the Moon God Hall, it was similar to the Ziwei Divine Court. There are many evil spirits sealed in the world of reincarnation that can bewitch the hearts of people, causing them to cultivate evil arts. Yu Changkong cultivated an evil art. What happened after that? The heavenly deity asked. The eyes of the others froze, they had no way to reply. They were all killed by Yu Changkong early on. All of us were killed by that vile creature. We have no idea what happened after that. That hegemonic level world overlord felt somewhat ashamed. They made a wasted trip to the world of reincarnation and didn't even know what happened there. Speak. The heavenly deity glanced at the kneeling Yu Changkong. Disciple doesn't wish to explain anything. After committing such a crime of disrespect, I only wish for death. Master, please grant me death. Yu Changkong knelt on the ground, lowering his head as though he was begging for death. The heavenly deity frowned. Get up first. Senior brother. That hegemonic level world overlord called out. Disciple doesn't dare to. Yu Changkong knelt. I want you to get up and tell me everything in detail. That heavenly deity coldly spoke. Although this disciple of his had a sinister and despicable nature, his methods were much more outstanding compared to his junior brother and the other two disciples. If not, he wouldn't have killed them so easily. Such a person might be able to accomplish great things, but he was also someone who wouldn't even recognize his own family. Chapter 1850. Several months later, some of the things that happened in the Tiandao Sacred Academy circulated through the supreme ancient immortal realms. So it turned out that in the legendary place of the Tiandao Sacred Academy, there was actually a world called the World of Reincarnation. Over there, everything had to start from the beginning and it could test one's temperament. It was rumored that in the world of reincarnation, Yu Changkong of the Ziwei Divine Court cultivated an evil art and caused a storm of blood. It was rumored that in the world of reincarnation, the siblings from the Luotian clan killed each other. Before Luo Shenlei died, she called out the true identity of the Qingqing realm lord. He was none other than the son of the Qin clan's Qin Yuanfeng and Luo Shenlei's daughter. It was rumored that in the world of reincarnation, after Qin Wentian obtained the evil art, he fought against everyone and killed the 3 experts of the Qin clan, killing Yu Changkong. In the end, it was goddess Nikhang who saved him. All of these rumors grew more and more intense in the supreme ancient immortal realms. The story of Lin Xiao and the mystical maiden caused people to discuss enthusiastically. As for the story between Qin Wentian and goddess Nikhang, it caused the hearts of many to be filled with endless fantasies. One must know that goddess Nikhang was someone Heaven's son Qin Dangtian regarded highly. What sort of character was Heaven's son Qin Dangtian? He was the son of Qin Zheng and was also Qin Yuanfeng's clan brother back then. In that case, Qin Dangtian and Qin Wentian were born to be enemies. Right now, goddess Nikhang appeared between the two of them. How could people not wonder about such a story? The name of the Qingqing realm lord, Qin Wentian, truly appeared on the stage of the supreme ancient immortal realms. Everyone in the supreme ancient immortal realms was very familiar with him. After the Qin clan learned of Qin Wentian's origins, they immediately gave the order to investigate everything about Qin Wentian. Very soon, they found out that Qin Wentian came from Azure Mystic and he was very young. When he participated in the convention of the myriad realms, he had cultivated for less than 1,000 years. The Qin clan concluded that Qin Yuanfeng was still alive. The Qin clan immediately gave the order, sending experts below the World Overlord realm to Azure Mystic to investigate. Right now, the seal on the Azure Mystic immortal realms hasn't been completely lifted yet. For those who could head there, the strongest would only be Empyreans. Although their Qin clan wasn't afraid of trouble, they didn't wish to antagonize that ancient being. To the Qin clan, Qin Wentian who was at the World Overlord realm wasn't important now. He wouldn't be a threat to them. But if Qin Yuanfeng and his wife didn't die, they had no choice but to treat them seriously. The Luotian clan naturally also learned of everything. At this moment, in the Luotian clan of the desolate region, on the peak of an ancient mountain, a figure stood there with his hands behind his back. His figure was tall and straight, resembling a pine tree. He casually stood there, yet he gave off a sense of imposingness, like he was a towering mountain. This figure had jet black hair, but there were white hairs on both sides of his temples. He looked at the churning sea of clouds. Behind him, there were 2 silhouettes, a male and a female. The male seemed somewhat weak while the female was extremely young and beautiful. These 2 were none other than Luo Shenyu and Luo Shenlei, father and daughter. Since she has always been here, why didn't she come back to see me after so many years? That figure standing with his hands behind his back spoke. His voice was filled with the vicissitudes of time, like he had seen through everything in the world. She might have her own difficulties. The Qin clan is the same as us, they don't know that Qin Yuanfeng didn't die back then. In that case, the reason why she didn't appear should be because she wanted to protect herself. Luo Shenyu spoke. She even wants to hide this from me, her father. How ruthless, wiping away all immortal senses to transmit messages. That figure spoke again. He slowly turned around, revealing his angular face. He looked even younger than his son, Luo Shenyu. His eyes seemed to have a penetrative power that could see through everything in the world. Luo Shenchuan, the current clan leader of the Luotian clan, Luo Shenyu's father. And you have also learned to hide things from me. He stared at Luo Shenyu as he spoke. Father, I didn't do this intentionally. Luo Shenyu lowered his head. What are you worried about? Are you afraid that I would harm him? Luo Shenchuan spoke. Don't forget that I'm his maternal grandfather. My blood flows in his veins as well. Luo Shenyu still lowered his head. Luo Shenchuan sighed in his heart, he naturally wouldn't continue to make things difficult for his son. He spoke in a light voice, you guys have already met him. How is he? Father already knows about the things that happened in the convention and the legendary place of the Tiandao Sacred Academy. I'm sure you all know about it. His talent isn't inferior to his parents. If he is given enough time, he would definitely become a great character. Luo Xinyu spoke. I want to meet him. Luo Xinchuan calmly spoke, his words causing Luo Xinlei's beautiful eyes to flash. Her heart involuntarily trembled. Her grandfather wanted to meet her elder brother as well. Father, about the clan. Luo Xinyu was somewhat hesitant. After Luo Xinlei returned, she brought back news that a disciple of the Luotian clan actually betrayed her in the world of reincarnation. Because of this matter, some trouble arose in the clan. Right now, the relationship between the two factions was in an extremely sensitive period. I'm still the clan leader of the Luotian clan. Luo Xinchuan's words interrupted him. He glanced at Luo Xinlei, ask him when he can come to the Luotian clan. Now. Luo Xinlei started. Yes, ask him now. I want to know the answer. Luo Xinchuan nodded. Luo Xinlei's beautiful eyes glanced at her father Luo Xinyu. Upon seeing Luo Xinyu nodding to her, she took out her messaging crystal and sent a strand of her immortal sense in, Elder brother, where are you now? Azure Mystic. A voice rang out in Luo Xinlei's mind, causing her beautiful eyes to freeze. Lower world, Azure Mystic Immortal Realms. Her elder brother actually came down to the lower world? What's the matter? Qin Wentian's voice rang out again. Luo Xinlei glanced at her grandfather as her gaze turned heavy. She then transmitted her voice back, Elder brother, Grandpa said that he wants to meet you and wants you to make a trip to the Luotian clan. Luo Xinlei knew that Qin Wentian needed some time to think. I will be in closed-door seclusion for a period of time. After I exit, I will return to the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms. At that time, I will make a trip to the desolate region. A moment later, Qin Wentian transmitted his voiceover. Luo Xinlei nodded lightly and replied, okay, I will tell Grandpa about this. After speaking, Luo Xinlei kept her messaging crystal. Luo Xinchuan kept his gaze on her, as though waiting for her answer. Grandpa, elder brother said that he has already descended to the lower world and is in the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms. He is preparing to enter closed-door seclusion and might only return to the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms after he exits. At that time, he will come to the Luotian clan. Luo Xinlei spoke. Luo Xinchuan didn't feel surprised when he heard Luo Xinlei's words. His expression was as calm as ever. He already knew that Qin Wentian came from Azure Mystic and grew up until now. You feel the pressure and know that you have to cultivate well? Luo Xinchuan calmly spoke. Let's hope things will be like what you all hope for. You guys should be clear about what sort of power the Qin clan is. As he spoke, he stepped out and departed, leaving behind Luo Xinlei and her daughter who were exchanging mutual glances. Seems like Grandpa really cares about elder brother. Luo Xinlei mumbled. Azure Mystic Immortal Realms, Heaven Empyrean City, in the Emperor Palace. This place was the absolute center of authority in the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms. Even if Qin Wentian wasn't here, the Emperor Palace in Heaven Empyrean City still possessed an incomparable amount of influence. This was because the master of this place was none other than the Heaven Empyrean. Qin Wentian naturally wouldn't lie to Luo Xinlei. Right now, he was in this Emperor Palace. Back then, after the matter with the Tiandao Sacred Academy was concluded, he silently returned to the Qingqing realm and made arrangements there. After that, he brought his people and returned to the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms. Although their cultivation bases already surpassed Empyreans, they were originally people of Azure Mystic and naturally wouldn't be restricted by the seal. In addition, Qin Wentian, who could faintly guess some of the secrets of Azure Mystic, understood in his heart that it was impossible for the person who sealed Azure Mystic to act against them. Right now, the future of ancient Azure Mystic rested on them. As for why he was in such a hurry to return, it was because Qin Wentian knew that the Qin clan would investigate him. In addition, the Qin clan would definitely send people here to investigate him. As long as he was here, he wouldn't care about the Qin clan's investigation. Now that his identity was already exposed, there was no difference no matter how they investigated him. In any case, the Qin clan wanted to kill him no matter what. However, he wouldn't give the Qin clan such a chance so easily. Other than this, there was another reason. He wanted to stabilize his cultivation base and increase his strength. Right now, he truly needed to enter closed-door seclusion to improve himself and come back to see if his family and friends were still fine. Him now was still far from having the ability to face the Qin clan head-on. He could only avoid them. This was very embarrassing. He wanted nothing more than to slaughter his way into the Qin clan. However, no matter how embarrassing it was, he had to endure it. It was very simple to send himself to death, but after he died, who would avenge his father's death? Who would care about his family and friends? After cultivating for so many years and experiencing so many things, he had long since passed the age of being hot-blooded and impulsive. In the courtyard of the Emperor Palace, Qin Wentian sat there as a strange light flashed in his eyes. His grandfather, whom he had never met before, wanted to meet him and wanted him to head to the Luotian clan. Since Layer informed him, this meant that his grandfather, whom he had never met before, shouldn't have any ill intentions towards him. After all, blood was thicker than water. His grandfather could be considered his closest kin. He had to go to the Luotian clan no matter what. He naturally wanted to meet his grandfather, but now wasn't the time. "Boss, you are back." A commotion rang out from outside. After that, Qin Wentian saw Fatty Fan Lu, Ouyang Guangsheng, and a group of familiar figures walking over. Right now, all of them had messaging crystals on them. The news of Qin Wentian's return naturally couldn't be hidden. Most probably, only Qin Wentian and his friends would be able to enter the Emperor Palace unhindered. "Fatty, why isn't there a little fatty between you and Xuanqin?" Qin Wentian laughed. "Don't talk about me, look at yourself." Fan Lu spoke in disdain. "Oh yeah, after I return this time, boss, help me raise my strength. I just want to break through to the ancient emperor realm." Qin Wentian's face was filled with black lines when he heard Fatty's words. Ouyang Guangsheng mocked, "Given your pitiful talent, I'm afraid you won't have a chance." "Ouyang, why do you want to try?" Fan Lu was unconvinced. "Hee hee." Ouyang Guangsheng laughed in disdain, angering Fan Lu even further. He really wanted to fight. Qin Wentian, Mo Qingcheng, and the others all had smiles on their faces when they saw the commotion in front of them. Qin Wentian then spoke, "Prepare a banquet tonight and help me invite everyone to the Emperor Palace. We won't return until we're drunk." "Yes, Heaven Empyrean." Someone outside bowed. Not long after, Ouyang Guangsheng, Fan Lu, Qin Chuan, Yi Qingyun, Bai Wuya, Jun Mengchen, the Southern Phoenix Matriarch, Namhuang Yunxi, Mustang, Yiling Shuang, and many other familiar faces appeared in the Emperor Palace. Chapter 1851. There were countless lives in the 33 immortal realms. 100 years passed by in the blink of an eye. For those powers that stood at the peak of the immortal realms, it was like they were eternal. They wouldn't decay. There were countless lives in the supreme ancient immortal realms. Many major events would happen every day, affecting the fates of countless people. But when placed in the perspective of the entire supreme ancient immortal realms, these events were insignificant. Back then, many people who walked out from the legendary place in the Tiandao Sacred Academy all underwent a transformation, growing at a shocking rate. It was said that Reverend's 7 abstinences from the pure land of bliss had already seen through the secrets of the heavenly Taoist and was only a step away from becoming a true divinity of the Buddhist Tao. Not only for Reverend's 7 abstinences, Han Sha from the God Extermination Palace, Che Ying from the Che clan, Lin Shao from the Qiankuan sect, and the others all improved greatly. This caused countless people to feel a sense of longing for the legendary place in the Tiandao Sacred Academy. However, who was it that had truly stepped into the legendary sacred temple back then? Many people guessed that it was Reverend's 7 abstinences. Occasionally, people would also think of Yu Changkong from the Ziwei Divine Court. He devoured his fellow sect members in the world of reincarnation, cultivating an evil art. After he came out, how could the heavenly deities of the Ziwei Divine Court spare him? No one knew what his fate was. However, Yu Changkong seemed to have vanished without a trace. There was no news of him and many people guessed that he had already died, executed by the Ziwei divine court. Qin Wentian also vanished. However, everyone felt that Qin Wentian's disappearance was very normal. Since his identity was exposed, the Qin clan wouldn't spare him. It was naturally impossible for him to appear again. Maybe, he was hiding in the Tiandao Sacred Academy in closed-door seclusion. Unless his cultivation base reached a certain level, he most probably wouldn't dare to step out of the Tiandao Sacred Academy. However, Qin Wentian's enemies, the Qin clan, knew that Qin Wentian wasn't in the Tiandao Sacred Academy. He was an Azure Mystic instead. Their people had been monitoring the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms and the Qingqing realm. They knew everything about Qin Wentian's movements like the back of their hands. Naturally, they didn't know that Qin Wentian not only went to Azure Mystic, he even went to the ancient battlefield. The Eastern Royal Immortal Realms in the lower world of the 33 Immortal Realms was governed by the Donghuang clan, a subordinate power of the Ziwei Divine Court. In this world, the Donghuang clan was the master, looking down on all lives. Recently, the Eastern Royal Immortal Realms wasn't peaceful. Many people died mysteriously. In fact, a few days ago, an ancient city in the Eastern Royal Immortal Realms was filled with experts who died mysteriously. After they died, even their corpses disappeared. That city became a city of death. The people of the Eastern Royal Immortal Realms were all filled with panic. The Donghuang clan sent experts out to investigate this matter, but the experts they sent out didn't return at all. They completely vanished without a trace. This matter caused the Donghuang clan to feel that things were extremely troublesome. It was very possible that a devil from the supreme ancient immortal realms had descended to the lower realms to harm the people of the world. Just when the Donghuang clan was feeling uneasy, the figure of a young man appeared in the majestic Eastern Royal Palace. This person claimed that he was Donghuang Ying's fiancé and wanted to marry Donghuang Ying. This matter instantly startled the upper echelons of the Donghuang clan. Donghuang Ying was naturally alarmed as well. Both of them stepped out of their residences, and when they saw the person who came, they discovered that this person was none other than the person who deceived the world back then, Yu Changkong. He didn't die. Not only did he not die, he even appeared in their Eastern Royal Immortal Realms and came to the Eastern Royal Palace. Donghuang Ying's expression was extremely unsightly. She stared at Yu Changkong and asked, "What are you doing here? Why? Your man is here but you don't welcome him." Yu Changkong smiled. Donghuang Ying's expression turned extremely unsightly. Right now, there were too many rumors about Yu Changkong. He was a complete bastard. Not only did he deceive the world, he was also extremely ruthless. The people of the Donghuang clan wanted to know more about Yu Changkong. Their expressions suddenly changed as they asked, "You were the one who massacred the entire city. Are you cultivating an evil art?" A faint smile appeared on Yu Changkong's face. After that, he stepped out and appeared beside Donghuang Ying, hugging her slender waist. Donghuang Ying wanted to dodge, but how could she do so? Yu Changkong easily succeeded. He hugged her tightly as he spoke, "A day as husband and wife means 100 days of love. Why? Are you so heartless? Release her." Donghuang Ying's father stepped out. His aura surged as a powerful heaven heart mandate gushed forth, enveloping Yu Changkong. Yu Changkong's eyes flashed with coldness. An evil smile appeared on his face as he stared at his opponent. After that, the temperature in the air suddenly turned cold as a crescent moon appeared. Moonlight cascaded down, enveloping this entire space. "I'll let you experience the power of lunar eclipse that I've comprehended." Yu Changkong smiled as he stared at Donghuang Ying's father. After that, the crescent moon actually turned pitch black as a terrifying beam of light landed on Donghuang Ying's father. After that, Donghuang Ying's father fell into absolute darkness as he was slowly devoured by the crescent moon. The expressions of the people in the surroundings changed. Donghuang Ying called out in shock, "Father!" The pitch-black crescent moon was like a ghost moon, extremely demonic. It slowly devoured Donghuang Ying's father. Yu Changkong, our Donghuang clan is a vassal of the Ziwei divine court. How can your master spare you for doing this? A person roared. My master. Yu Changkong suddenly laughed uproariously. His eyes turned extremely cold. In the future, my master naturally won't have any objections if I take control of the Eastern Royal Immortal Realms. I'm his disciple after all. As the sound of his voice faded, Donghuang Ying's father's body completely vanished into the Devil Crescent Moon. The evil arts of the world of reincarnation were only suitable for the world of reincarnation. It was rumored that this evil art was imparted to Yu Changkong by an evil spirit because of the unique cultivation conditions of the world of reincarnation. However, that evil art allowed Yu Changkong to see himself clearly, knowing what path he should walk. He found his own cultivation art and used the insights he gained in the world of reincarnation to comprehend a brand new power. Although this power wasn't as tyrannical as the evil arts in the world of reincarnation, he had absolute control over it. In addition, it would only grow stronger as he comprehended more and more. As for his master, he wasn't worried at all. Right now, the fact that his master was still alive was the best proof. Yu Changkong was very clear in his heart that his master was a lofty heavenly deity. He wasn't some kind character. You are my woman. In the future, as the overlord of the Eastern Royal Immortal Realms, I will naturally dote on you well. Yu Changkong stretched out his hand and gently caressed Donghuang Ying's pale face as a strange smile appeared on his face. At this moment, Donghuang Ying felt incomparable hatred for herself. She was the one who summoned this devil. Right now, in the entire Eastern Royal Immortal Realms, there was no one who could deal with him. In the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms, in the desolate region, a sword was currently soaring through the air. This sword was extremely large and there was actually the shadow of a great rock revolving around it, causing its speed to be extremely fast. It could traverse 1,000 miles in an instant and an incomparably handsome young man could be seen standing on the sword. He had black hair and white robes. On his shoulder, there was even a snow-white puppy that looked extremely adorable. This young man was naturally none other than Qin Wentian. Just when the people of the Qin clan thought that he was still an azure mystic, he had already silently left the Emperor Palace and returned to the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms. In fact, he even came to the desolate region of the Supreme Ancient Eight Regions. Qin Wentian naturally knew that the Qin clan would keep an eye on him. His matter in Azure Mystic wasn't a secret. Since the Qin clan already knew of his identity, it would be very easy for them to find out about it. It was also very simple for him to escape. Di Tian was still there was no way for him to escape. Also, this time around, he only brought Little Rascal with him. As for the others, they were all cultivating in the ancient battlefield of ancient Azure Mystic. Oi, Demon Sword! Didn't you boast about how awesome you are? Why is your speed so slow? Why don't I do it instead? The astral wind gusted over. Little Rascal felt extremely comfortable but he was still grumbling. My strength needs to be strengthened by my master. The stronger the energy that enters my body, the stronger I will be. The demon sword calmly replied. Che, doesn't that mean we still have to rely on Wentian? What's the use of you? Why are you still boasting about how the heavens are too low? Right now, the heavens of the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms are already high enough, right? Little Rascal spoke in disdain, as though he was intentionally angering the demon sword. What do you know? All the Daos and innate techniques in the heavens and earth can all be unleashed by me. The demon sword was unconvinced. Qin Wentian laughed when he heard the two of them arguing. Demon sword, don't listen to this little rascal's nonsense. He is intentionally angering you. Humph, the demon sword coldly snorted. Qin Wentian laughed. No matter what divine weapon the demon sword was, in the past, it helped him to slay the Pill Emperor Hall and save Qingcheng. It also helped him reverse the demonic divinity sacrificial transformation art. Now, it was time for him to repay it, allowing it to accompany him as he soared through the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms. This desolate region is truly desolate. There are demonic beasts everywhere, there's nothing much for humans to live in. Little Rascal spoke. Isn't this place very suitable for you? Qin Wentian smiled. In ancient times, the desolate region has always been a paradise for demonic beasts. In this desolate region, there's only a mountain range of demonic beasts. Even until now, other than the Luotian clan, the other two peak powers, the Demon God Mountain and the Divine Ox clan, are all demonic beasts. As for Luotian Lei, she also cultivated demonic energy. Wentian, you can be considered the young master of the Luotian clan. Why don't you take over the Luotian clan in the future? I'll take over the Demon God Mountain and destroy the Divine Ox clan. In the future, the desolate region will belong to us. What do you think? Little Rascal's immature voice actually spoke such tyrannical words. This caused people to feel a little strange. This fellow truly dared to dream. Although the Luotian clan was his mother's clan, it wasn't up to him to control it. Stop talking nonsense. Look at the map. How far are we from Luo City? Qin Wentian asked. Luo City was none other than the location of the Luotian clan. It was the main city of the Luotian clan. It doesn't seem to be that far away. We should be arriving soon. Little Rascal mumbled. A man, a demon, and a sword sped through the airspace of the desolate region. Finally, the location Little Rascal pointed out was about to arrive. A month later, Qin Wentian arrived at Luo City, a majestic ancient city located in the desolate region. The moment he stepped into Luo City, he could see a towering ancient mountain standing at the peak of the city. Even when he was extremely far away from Luo City, he could still see the illusory silhouette of the ancient mountain. It was like a divine mountain. That mountain was named the Luotian Mountain, the place where the Luotian clan was located. Chapter 1852. Luo City was incomparably flourishing. It was located in the surroundings of the Luotian Mountain in the center of Luo City. The Luotian Mountain wasn't a mountain, it was a mountain range. However, this mountain range no longer had the shadow of a mountain. Other than looking majestic from afar, if one were to look at it up close, this mountain range was filled with majestic ancient palaces. There were countless of them, stretching for millions of miles. As a hegemonic power of the desolate region, the Luotian clan has existed for countless years. Although the population of the Luotian clan is considered lesser compared to the other hegemonic powers, it was still extremely vast. The Luotian mountain range was like a majestic city on top of a mountain peak. At this moment, Qin Wentian stood at the foot of the Luotian mountain. There were many people here on a pilgrimage, staring at the Luotian mountain with reverence in their eyes. This was a hegemonic power of the desolate region, there were even heavenly deities residing there. Qin Wentian inclined his head. When he thought of the fact that his mother was born here, a sense of closeness involuntarily appeared in his heart. Was this the place where his mother grew up? Most probably, his mother would often roam the mountain range. A light smile appeared in Qin Wentian's eyes. After that, he walked up the mountain with the demon's sword behind his back. Little Rascal was still lying on his shoulder, curiously surveying the majestic city on top of the mountain range. At the entrance of the Luotian clan, there were experts guarding it. The two words Luotian could be seen engraved on it, not corroded by the passage of time. The guards here all had extraordinary cultivation bases. When they saw Qin Wentian ascending the mountain, they immediately said, "The Luotian clan is a place where strangers are not allowed to enter." Qin Wentian smiled and nodded to them. After that, he took out his messaging crystal and contacted Luotian Lei's immortal sense. "Lei, I've arrived." "Elder brother, you have arrived?" Luotian Lei's shocked voice rang out in his mind. "Where are you now?" Clearly, Luotian Lei didn't know that Qin Wentian was coming. Before this, Qin Wentian didn't tell her and directly rushed to the desolate region. One man, one demonic beast, one sword. The Luotian Mountain. Qin Wentian replied. Luotian Lei started. After that, she replied, "Elder brother, wait for me." "All right." Qin Wentian replied with a single word. After that, he casually stood there and waited. When the people in front of the mountain gate saw that he seemed to be sending a message to someone, and when they saw how extraordinary Qin Wentian's aura was, they guessed that he might have some acquaintances in the Luotian clan. All of them curiously surveyed Qin Wentian. In the Luotian clan, a group of young men and women descended the mountain. When they passed by the mountain gate, all of them exuded an extraordinary aura. They were both handsome and beautiful. As members of the Luotian clan, they exuded a faint sense of nobility and pride. When they saw Qin Wentian standing at the side, they curiously glanced at him. A young man from the Luotian clan spoke, "If you are here to pay your respects, just stand at the foot of the mountain. There's no need to block the entrance." The Luotian clan could be considered a sacred ground in the surrounding regions. There were many people who came here to pay their respects. Qin Wentian could also understand the status of the Luotian clan. To ordinary people, even for immortal emperors, it was impossible for them to imagine what a hegemonic power the heavenly deity clan was. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that it was a sacred ground. Back when he was in the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms, before he entered the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms, he was already at the Immortal Emperor realm. At that time, what did the heavenly deity clan in the upper world mean to him? He simply didn't dare to imagine. But now, with the passage of time, gradually, even when he stood before the entrance of the heavenly deity clan, he didn't feel too great of a fluctuation in his heart. Although there were some fluctuations in his heart, it was only because this was the place where his mother was born. "No, I'm here to look for someone." Qin Wentian shook his head and smiled. These young men and women shouldn't be very old. Their cultivation bases were at the Empyrean realm and Immortal Emperor realm. They should be the younger generations of the Luotian clan. "Looking for someone?" A beautiful young woman smiled. "Who are you looking for?" "Do you know someone from my Luotian clan?" "Emicham, I'm looking for a friend." Qin Wentian smiled. "Don't tell me they are here to curry favor with our Luotian clan." Among them, a young man with a proud and cold expression spoke. His tone was filled with disdain. There were too many people who wanted to curry favor with their Luotian clan. Upon sensing the sense of superiority from that young man, Qin Wentian's smile remained on his face. As a disciple of the Luotian clan, it was very normal for them to be proud. However, this group of young men and women clearly didn't have much experience in tempering themselves. They revealed their thoughts too easily. It was fine if they were disciples of the Luotian clan, but if they went out, they would surely be at a disadvantage. "What's the name of your friend? Let me see if I know him or not." That beautiful young woman from earlier smiled and asked. She was somewhat curious as to who this young man was looking for. The pet on his shoulder was extremely adorable, causing people to like it. Luotian Lei. Qin Wentian. When they heard this name, the group of young men and women started. After that, they all burst out laughing. "You are still so serious when you are lying. It's like you are telling the truth." That young woman laughed. "You can leave, we won't pursue this any further." That young man from earlier calmly spoke, wanting Qin Wentian to leave this place. Luotian Lei. What a joke. Miss Lei was a true descendant of the Luotian clan. It was rare for them to even meet her normally. This man actually lied and claimed that he was a friend of Miss Lei. He must be crazy, not knowing the immensity of the heavens and earth. Qin Wentian was speechless. He shook his head and turned his gaze to the top of the mountain. He saw a few figures flying over with great speed. The person in the lead exuded an incomparably magnificent magnificence and was incomparably beautiful. This person was none other than Luotian Lei. Those young men and women from the Luotian clan also turned their heads at this moment. Their gazes involuntarily froze. Miss Lei. Lei-er. After not seeing her for 100 years, Lei-er's aura grew more and more outstanding. Clearly, she had improved a lot during these 100 years. Luotian Lei's speed was extremely fast. With a flash, she appeared beside Qin Wentian. She stretched out her hand and held on to Qin Wentian's hand, causing the gazes of the people around them to freeze. What situation was this? Miss Layer already has someone she likes. Also, that person directly came up to the Luotian mountain. Elder brother. Luotian Lei gently called out. Back then in the world of reincarnation, they had experienced life and death together. The relationship between them as siblings had already risen to a higher level. Although they didn't grow up together, they still felt extremely close to each other. They were like real siblings. Layer, you seem to have grown more beautiful. Qin Wentian smiled at Luotian Lei. Not at all. Elder brother, let's go up the mountain. Luotian Lei pulled Qin Wentian's arm and walked forward, entering the mountain gate together, leaving behind a few people who were still in a daze. Elder brother. When did Miss Lei have an elder brother? In the Luotian clan, although she had many clan brothers, she would never address them so intimately. Very soon, they thought of a rumor from 100 years ago. After that, their hearts trembled violently as they exchanged mutual glances, feeling great waves in their hearts. It's him, he came. Let's go. Their silhouettes flashed, they didn't descend the mountain but chose to return the way they came from. They knew that something major might happen in the Luotian clan. Back then, the matter between Qin Yuanfeng and the second miss of the Luotian clan caused a huge commotion, affecting the entire Luotian clan. This caused the Luotian clan to suffer an extremely heavy blow, and even now, the clan leader's position was shaken. Right now, the son of the second miss of the Luotian clan has returned to the Luotian clan. Qin Wentian followed Luotian Lei up the mountain, heading straight for the peak of the Luotian mountain. As the granddaughter of the current Luotian clan leader, the daughter of the Sky Order heavenly deity, Luotian Lei's residence was undoubtedly at the peak of this mountain range. However, on their way up the mountain, the news of Qin Wentian's arrival started to circulate rapidly in the Luotian clan. Many people were using messaging crystals to spread the news. 100 years ago, Qin Wentian's name had already caused a huge commotion in the Luotian clan. His identity was extremely sensitive and his talent was extremely similar to his father back then. Many years ago, that legendary young man, Qin Yuanfeng, had ascended the Luotian mountain before. After so many years, his son finally arrived. It was like a cycle of samsara. In a courtyard at the peak of the Luotian mountain, ancient trees and pavilions could be seen everywhere. In this place, Qin Wentian met his uncle again. This was the second time he met Luotian Yu. His uncle was still as weak as ever. When Qin Wentian saw him, he thought of the Qin clan and Qin Dangtian. A cold intent could be felt in his heart. A lofty heavenly deity was reduced to a cripple. What sort of torment and pain was this? It was simply unimaginable. Wentian, you finally came. A happy smile appeared on Luotian Yu's wrinkled face. The son of his younger sister finally came to the Luotian clan. Uncle. Qin Wentian bowed. There's no need to be like this. Take a seat. Luotian Yu waved his hand. I've heard about the incident in the world of reincarnation 100 years ago. I heard Layer talking about how glorious you were back then. If your mother knew about this, she would surely be very happy. In the world of reincarnation, I wasn't able to protect Layer well, causing her to almost not be able to return. Wentian is ashamed. Qin Wentian sighed. That's all in the past. Right now, isn't Layer fine? Also, after experiencing a life and death battle, her improvements during these 100 years have been very great. I heard from her that when she entered the world of reincarnation, the memories that appeared in her mind said that if she died in the world of reincarnation, she would really die. But why was she fine in the end? Do you know what happened after that? Luotian Yu asked. A legendary place appeared in the world of reincarnation. I entered it. Qin Wentian spoke. Luotian Yu started before he laughed uproariously. Good, good. I see. I heard that everyone in the immortal realms is guessing who was the one who entered the legendary place in the world of reincarnation. I didn't expect it to be you. You must have encountered some good fortune. Elder brother, even the legendary place has acknowledged you. In the future, you would definitely be able to stand proudly at the top of the supreme ancient immortal realms. Luo Shenlei also felt happy for Qin Wentian. The legendary place in the Tiandao Sacred Academy existed only in the legends. Her elder brother actually managed to enter it. Just as they were speaking, a commotion suddenly rang out from outside. After that, a wave of immortal senses directly gushed over. Luo Shenyu frowned. This was outrageous. If it was in the past, no one in the Luoshan clan would dare to be so impudent. Qin Wentian also frowned, a look of unhappiness could be seen on his face. The invasion of immortal senses was extremely impolite. However, the other party didn't just use immortal senses to invade. Very swiftly, there were people who directly barged in. World Overlord Lifeless wanted to stop them, but Luo Shenyu spoke, "Let them in." Very swiftly, several experts appeared here, coldly staring at Qin Wentian. It seemed that they came with ill intentions. Clearly, not everyone in the Luoshan clan was as friendly as his uncle. Chapter 1853. Luo Shenyu inclined his head and coldly stared at the people before him. However, the current him clearly didn't have much of a deterrent force. The gazes of these people were all fixed on Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian didn't expect the news to circulate so quickly. He didn't turn his head to look at them and continued quietly sitting in front of Luo Shenyu. Little rascal who was on his shoulder was surveying these experts from the Luoshan clan. "You are Qin Yuanfeng's son, Qin Wentian?" A person stared at Qin Wentian as he spoke. Qin Wentian's back was still facing the other party. "Is there a problem?" These people barged in and weren't polite at all. There was naturally no need for him to be polite to them. Seeing that Qin Wentian didn't even bother to turn his head, a world overlord coldly laughed. As expected, he is as arrogant as he was back then. Like father, like son. Luo Shenyu, you are the one who summoned him to the Luoshan clan? Luo Shenyu inclined his head and stared at the person who asked. World Overlord Lifeless and Luo Shenlei who were beside him all had cold looks in their eyes. These people were from another faction in the Luoshan clan. They were extremely powerful and had a lot of authority in the Luoshan clan. Right now, they could already stand on equal grounds with the current Luoshan clan leader, Luoshan Chuan. In fact, they even wanted to force Luoshan Chuan to abdicate. Yes, so what about it? Luo Shenyu calmly asked. Back then, your younger sister Luoshan Qianxue and Qin Yuanfeng implicated the Luoshan clan. Isn't it enough? You yourself are also a cripple because of this. Now, you even summoned this young man here. What are your intentions? That world overlord spoke again, his tone was extremely impolite. Qin Wentian's gaze turned cold when he heard the other party calling Luo Shenyu trash. At the same time, he silently sighed in his heart. He didn't expect that the internal strife in the Luoshan clan had already reached such a serious state. Although Luo Shenyu was crippled, he was still a heavenly deity. Even if his cultivation base was ignored, his identity was still the son of the Luoshan clan leader. This world overlord didn't even show the most basic respect and directly called him a cripple. This could be considered as shedding all pretense of cordiality. When world overlord Lifeless heard this, a cold intent gushed forth from him as he stepped out. Lifeless. Luo Shenyu called out, stopping him. Half of his blood is from the Luoshan clan. Is there a problem for him to come to the Luoshan clan? Luo Shenyu stared at Qin Wentian. There's naturally a problem. Half of the Qin clan's blood flows in his body. The matters in the past were never acknowledged by our Luoshan clan. For the sake of his parents, our Luoshan clan has already paid a huge price. Now, you even summoned him here. Luo Shenyu, are you intentionally trying to harm our Luoshan clan? That world overlord coldly spoke. Luo Shenyu, the Luoshan clan isn't the Luoshan clan that belongs to your bloodline. Back then, wasn't it enough for his parents? Now, are you going to allow this vile spawn to continue wreaking havoc in the Luoshan clan? Another person coldly spoke, our Luoshan clan will no longer bear the burden of a vile spawn. Since he is here, let's just send him to the Qin clan and end this grudge. As the sound of his voice faded, the atmosphere instantly turned cold. The words of this person were even more impolite compared to earlier, directly insulting Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian was a vile spawn. This was equivalent to insulting his parents as well. Also, back then, Qin Wentian's mother, Luotian Qianxue, was the second miss of the Luotian clan. Qin Wentian slowly stood up. After that, he turned and stared at the person who spoke. Upon sensing the coldness in Qin Wentian's eyes, that person actually felt a sense of danger. His eyes narrowed as a hint of wariness appeared in his eyes. Qin Wentian stepped out towards that person as a formless pressure bore down on him. After that, the gazes of everyone turned to Qin Wentian. Although their words were impolite, they heard that Qin Wentian was extremely powerful. Back then in the legendary place of the Tiandao Sacred Academy, Qin Wentian's performance was extraordinary. With a light cry, a sword slashed out. A beam of sword light shot out, causing the entire space to freeze. "Vile creature, you dare!" Those people roared in rage when they saw Qin Wentian directly pulling out his sword. Powerful auras gushed forth, but at the instant Qin Wentian pulled out his sword, time and space seemed to have frozen. Their movements became incomparably slow, as though they were about to stop moving. The sword light appeared. This sword light seemed to be able to stop time, descending at an inconceivably fast speed. That world overlord who insulted Qin Wentian only felt his entire body stiffening as a chill engulfed him. When he saw the sword light piercing through space, at this instant, the coldness permeated his entire body, causing him to break out in cold sweat. "Chi!" An extremely light piercing sound rang out. That person only felt a chill on his neck as a resplendent beam of sword light landed right in front of him, stopping right in front of his neck. But as long as Qin Wentian willed it, that beam of sword light would instantly penetrate through his throat. The movements of the rest of the people involuntarily stopped. The void instantly became silent. Their gazes were fixed on that sword light. This sword light had the power to stop time and space. This sword light stopped just like that, but its might didn't diminish in the slightest. "Who did you say is a vile spawn earlier?" Qin Wentian calmly asked. However, his calm voice contained an extreme coldness, causing everyone to feel a chill in their hearts. Since the conflict between the factions in the Luotian clan has already escalated to such an extent, since the other party could directly insult his uncle as trash and call him a vile spawn, what did it matter if he retaliated? If others take a step forward and you take a step back, the other party would only take a yard after taking an inch. The sword light sliced through his throat, wanting to penetrate it at any moment. However, that world overlord's expression turned extremely cold. Qin Wentian just came to the Luotian clan and he actually dared to be so impudent to him? "Do you know what place this is?" That world overlord coldly spoke. He didn't believe that Qin Wentian would dare to kill him. "Qi." The sword light continued forward, penetrating through his throat. That world overlord could clearly feel the coldness. Fresh blood flowed unceasingly from his throat. "You dare." The eyes of the experts in the surroundings were all extremely cold. All of them radiated an extreme coldness, surrounding Qin Wentian. This was simply too arrogant. Back then, even Qin Yuanfeng wasn't so brazen and arrogant. "Insulting my uncle, insulting me, insulting my parents. I'll only ask you one more time. Who is the vile spawn? You or me?" Qin Wentian continued. The sword light continued forward, slowly moving towards that world overlord's throat. That world overlord only felt a chill from his head to his feet. If this continued, that sword light would really be able to take his life. But no matter what, he was still a world overlord of the Luotian clan. Wanting him to admit that he was a vile spawn. How humiliating was this? He was still struggling. Fresh blood flowed from his throat, seeping into his body. His throat felt that it was very hard for him to speak. The Grim Reaper was getting closer and closer. Space seemed to have frozen. No one expected Qin Wentian to be so tyrannical. Also, his strength was so strong. Qin Wentian acted. With just a single sword strike, he wanted to slice the world overlord's throat. Luo Shenyu and Lifeless also stared at this scene. Their hearts weren't calm, they didn't expect Qin Wentian to act so decisively. However, this scene didn't cause Luo Shenyu to feel fear at all. On the contrary, he felt joy in his heart. Right now, he was already a cripple. Luo Shenlei still had a very long path ahead of her. When he saw his younger sister's son being so glorious, he naturally felt joy in his heart. Qin Wentian was so young and arrogant. Given his talent and strength, how could he not act when others insulted him and his parents? I'm talking about myself. That world overlord closed his eyes and spoke in agony. When he spoke, his body was trembling. At this moment, Luo Shenyu knew that his Dao heart could be considered destroyed. This strike from Qin Wentian would be something he would never be able to forget, tormenting him forever. This strike had crushed his Dao heart and his soul. This was the price he had to pay for his insulting words. Since you know you are a vile spawn, why are you still not scramming? The sword light flashed. Qin Wentian coldly spoke. That world overlord retreated, but as expected, the sword light didn't continue forward. That world overlord roared loudly and turned to leave. That roar of his was filled with boundless humiliation. He didn't have the face to continue staying here. The experts in the surroundings all stared at Qin Wentian. But at this moment, they didn't say anything and were very quiet. That scene earlier was too shocking. No one wanted Qin Wentian to draw his sword again. Let me make this clear. I came to the Luotian clan not because I want to curry favor with the Luotian clan. I'm only here to visit my uncle and younger sister. If the Luotian clan is willing to accept me, I can treat the Luotian clan as my kin. If not, I have no connection with the Luotian clan. There's no need for you all to worry about my matters. Naturally, the Luotian clan doesn't have the right to hand me over. I am myself, Qin Wentian. If anyone dares to be disrespectful to me, my sword will show no mercy. As the sound of Qin Wentian's voice faded, the demon's sword returned to its sheath. Also, if I hear anyone saying the word cripple again, I will turn that person into a cripple. Qin Wentian added. These words were naturally said for his uncle, Luo Shenyu. Back then, because of his parents, his uncle was crippled by Qin Dangtian and was humiliated by others. Since his parents were no longer around, he had to protect his uncle. The expressions of the people in the surroundings changed when they stared at Qin Wentian. Their gazes were complicated. Qin Wentian's single sword strike shocked everyone. Also, he wasn't as arrogant as they imagined him to be. He was arrogant but didn't lose his rationality. He was strong and had a sense of responsibility. Qin Wentian expressed that he had nothing to do with the Luotian clan. The people he was in contact with were only his uncle and younger sister. The Luotian clan naturally didn't have the qualifications to decide his fate. World Overlord Lifeless stared at Qin Wentian as admiration could be seen in his eyes. His master paid a huge price for Qin Yuanfeng's parents. Being able to see his son in such a state, it could be considered a form of consolation, right? Luo Shenlei's eyes were slightly red. Luo Shenyu stared at the back view of Qin Wentian as a warm smile appeared on his wrinkled face. His aged eyes were slightly moist at this moment. This was the son of his younger sister, his nephew. He would definitely surpass his parents in the future and support the heavens and earth. He came to the Luotian clan not to rely on others. He came here to visit his family. That was all. Chapter 1854. Qin Wentian's words were extremely domineering, ringing out in the ears of everyone. The experts of the Luotian clan in the surroundings stared at him. Clearly, they didn't expect Qin Wentian to be so powerful to this extent. A powerful world overlord couldn't even withstand a single strike from him. In this case, if they wanted to humiliate or target Qin Wentian, they wouldn't be able to gain any benefits. Leave. An expert waved his hand and spoke. After that, they retreated. Very swiftly, everyone flashed and vanished from sight, leaving behind only Qin Wentian and his group. This caused Qin Wentian to feel somewhat surprised. Qin Wentian turned his head and stared at Luo Xinyu. I initially thought that they would continue to pester me. The vast majority of the time, they would continuously weaken the strength of the other faction to strengthen themselves and find an opportunity to deal with the other faction. After they knew that you came, they immediately came here and insulted you, wanting to deal with you. This was merely an excuse. They wanted to use you as a breakthrough point in the Luotian clan's power struggle to suppress you. However, they didn't expect that their morale would be suppressed instead. They naturally wouldn't continue to stay here and become a joke. Although Luo Xinyu's cultivation base was crippled, how could he not see through such a small matter? He calmly spoke, however, this matter clearly wouldn't end so quickly. They wouldn't give up so easily. I'll just accept it. They wouldn't send out heavenly deities from the Luotian clan to deal with me, right? Qin Wentian calmly smiled. If this was the case, that would truly be a joke. In a battle for power, everyone has to rely on their own methods. If they send out heavenly deities to deal with you, they would have already lost this battle. Luo Xinyu shook his head. Clearly, this was impossible. Naturally, heavenly deities wouldn't act, but there was no problem for them to interfere. Bring him to the Thousand Snow Palace. At this moment, a voice suddenly rang out from the sky, ringing out in the ears of Luo Xinyu and Qin Wentian. This voice was ethereal, like it came from beyond the heavens. Qin Wentian's expression froze. He had already guessed the identity of the person who spoke. Luo Xinyu stood up and spoke to Qin Wentian. The Thousand Snow Palace is the place where your mother used to live. Let's go and take a look. Yes. Qin Wentian nodded. After that, Luo Xinyu and Luo Xinlei led the way, bringing Qin Wentian to a quiet courtyard at the peak of the mountain range. This place was very vast, but it was also very quiet. The environment was extremely beautiful and there were many towering ancient trees, like witnesses to the passage of time. Ancient trees, pavilions, fake mountains and ponds, everything was quiet and tranquil. This place was none other than the Thousand Snow Palace. Once, this was the place where Luotian Qinxue resided. Staring at the grass and trees here, Qin Wentian felt a sense of closeness in his heart. Was this the old residence of his mother? Most probably, in the past, she was a heaven chosen who had no worries, a young miss of the Luotian clan. Her talent was outstanding and she had an extremely beautiful life. However, everything changed after she met his father. No wonder his father would feel guilty, saying that he had let his mother down. Originally, she could have ascended to the heavens and grabbed the sun and moon, yet she chose to follow him to roam the world. But his mother had no regrets because of the love in her heart. Naturally, Qin Wentian wouldn't forget the instigator of all this, the Qin clan. If not, even if his parents roamed the world, they would still be able to live happily and wouldn't have to flee, not daring to show their faces. Qin Wentian quietly stared at every corner of this place. Luo Xinyu, who was at the side, spoke, "There are people coming here to clean up every day, but they have never touched anything before. Everything is maintained in its original state. Maybe, your grandfather hopes that she would be able to return one day." Qin Wentian sighed in his heart. In this world, how many parents wouldn't dote on their children? Even if his grandfather didn't approve of his parents' marriage, there was no need to doubt his feelings for his mother. At this moment, under an ancient tree in front of Qin Wentian, a figure could be seen quietly standing there. This figure was as straight as the ancient tree, exuding vigor and vigor. When Qin Wentian stared at this back view, it felt like he was looking at a towering mountain. However, the hair on this mountain had already turned white. He knew that the person before him should be none other than his grandfather, the clan leader of the Luotian clan, Luotian Chuan. Halting his steps, Qin Wentian quietly stared at that back view. He didn't say anything, but Luo Xinyu called out, "Father." "Grandfather." Luo Xinlei also called out. Luotian Chuan turned and stared at Qin Wentian. His eyes were extremely deep as a powerful might instantly enveloped Qin Wentian. It was like heavenly might, pressing down on Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian could feel this heavenly might. he only felt an incomparably heavy pressure, wanting to suffocate him. However, he already stood straight and stared at the figure before him, not making a sound. Grandfather. Luo Shenlei's expression changed. However, she only saw Luo Shenchuan stepping out as an even more terrifying heavenly might gushed over. Qin Wendian only felt that his body was about to collapse. He stood there, but it felt like he was carrying the weight of the entire sky on his back. It was incomparably heavy. I heard from Lair that you have never met your parents before. Are you an orphan raised by others? Luo Shenchuan stared at Qin Wendian. Yes. Qin Wendian nodded. That immense pressure was still present. Do you know who the person I hate the most in my life is? Luo Shenchuan spoke again. Qin Wendian shook his head. It's your father. Luo Shenchuan coldly spoke. It's your father who snatched my daughter away, causing her to wander the world in misery. She had to run away from home and was even hunted down by your father's clan. Right now, my son was also crippled by the Qin clan because of your father's mistake. Tell me, should I hate him? You should. Qin Wendian's grandfather, Luo Shenchuan, had a reason to hate his father. Every single sentence Qin Wendian said was sufficient to make him hate his father. I hate him, but now, I can't find him. Tell me, what should I do? Luo Shenchuan asked. A son must pay his father's debts. How do you want to treat my father? You can take revenge on me. Qin Wendian spoke. Take revenge on you? Luo Shenchuan coldly laughed. But my daughter's blood flows in your veins. If I hurt you, she would surely hate me. Since this is the case, grandfather, what do you want me to do? As long as I can do it, I will definitely repay my father. Qin Wendian knew that this was a debt his father owed. The Qin clan owed his father, but his father owed the Luoshan clan. Or more accurately, he owed Luo Shenchuan. When Luo Shenchuan heard the word grandfather, his heart involuntarily trembled. That powerful heavenly might also fluctuated, as though it couldn't bear to continue suppressing him. I want you to cripple Qin Dangtian, find your mother, and bring her back to the Luoshan clan. Can you do it? Luo Shenchuan asked. I'll do my best. Qin Wendian replied. Luo Shenchuan said that he wanted to cripple Qin Dangtian. Clearly, he wanted Qin Dangtian to suffer the pain Luoshan you suffered. Qin Wendian would definitely do it, he had to do it. As for bringing his mother back, he was also thinking about it. If his parents were still alive, where would they be? The pressure on Qin Wendian suddenly vanished. He instantly felt relaxed. Luo Shenchuan carefully surveyed the young man before him. From Qin Wendian, it was like he could see the shadow of his daughter. How could he truly act against Qin Wendian? It was true that he hated Qin Yuanfeng, but this young man before him was his grandson. After your mother left this Thousand Snow Palace, no one has stayed here before. But since you are here, you can stay here then. If your mother knows about this, I'm sure she wouldn't have any objections. Luo Shenchuan's voice grew much calmer. It was only natural for Qin Wendian to stay in the Thousand Snow Palace. He was her son, he naturally had the qualifications to stay here. Only now did Luo Shenlei heave a sigh of relief as a smile appeared on her face. Usually, outsiders weren't even allowed to enter the Thousand Snow Palace. But her grandfather allowed her elder brother to stay here. In truth, he had already acknowledged her elder brother. Although his words were cold, he had always wanted to see his grandson in his heart. If not, why would he allow Qin Wendian to stay here? Allowing Qin Wendian to stay in the Thousand Snow Palace was naturally because he hoped that Qin Wendian would temporarily stay on the Luoshan mountain. Qin Wendian nodded lightly. Is there really no news at all about your mother? Did she leave behind any clues? Luo Shenchuan's voice grew gentler and gentler. When he spoke, a look of hope could be seen in his eyes. Sadly, Qin Wendian still shook his head. How could he not want to find his parents? Elder brother, I heard that Qinshua's son is here. Since he is in the Luotian clan, why don't you let everyone meet him? At this moment, a voice rang out, referring to Luotian Chuan as elder brother. Being able to converse directly with the clan leader of the Luotian clan, one could very well imagine the identity of this person. As expected, upon hearing this voice, Luotian Yu and Luotian Lei both frowned. Clearly, this person didn't have good intentions. Elder brother, it's Luotian Mu, an extremely powerful character in the Luotian clan. He is the one who wants to seize authority, seizing grandfather's position as the clan leader. Right now, his faction has many vassal clans supporting him. Luotian Lei transmitted her voice to Qin Wentian. Back then when we entered the legendary place of the Tiandao Sacred Academy, there were 4 experts from the Luotian clan in the world of reincarnation. There's no need to say much about me and Grandpa Lifeless. As for the other 2, they belong to that faction. Because of what happened in the world of reincarnation, Grandfather publicly taught the 2 of them a lesson after they returned. Most probably, they still remember this grudge and want to find an opportunity to take revenge. Qin Wentian silently nodded. Back then, the 2 of them betrayed Luotian Lei. It was already a taboo. Most probably, when his grandfather ordered people to teach them a lesson, the people from their faction had nothing to say. Now, he came to the Luotian clan and just taught an expert from the Luotian clan a lesson. Clearly, the other party wouldn't give up just like this. Even a heavenly deity appeared. Most probably, they wanted to make use of this opportunity to make things difficult for him. If you wish to meet them, there's naturally no problem. Where do you want to meet them? Luotian Chuan calmly spoke. I will gather the people from the various factions of the Luotian clan for a meeting. Luotian Mu spoke. Since he said this, there was no longer a need to mention the location. Gathering the people from the various factions of the Luotian clan, this clearly meant that they wanted to create a huge commotion. Up to you. Luotian Chuan's voice was as cold as ever. Since the other party wanted to do something, he would accompany them. Right now, the Luotian clan was still under his control. Chapter 1855. Heaven Region, Qin Clan. A majestic ancient palace towered into the clouds. On the stone steps, a figure wearing a violet gold crown and embroidered robes could be seen, exuding the might of the heavens and earth. If Qin Wentian was here, he would surely recognize this person. In his father's memories, this person had appeared many times before. Qin Zheng, the current leader of the Qin clan, the father of Heaven's son Qin Dangtian. He stood on the stone steps with his hands clasped behind his back. Just by standing there, he seemed like the Lord of Heaven and Earth. A figure suddenly appeared at the bottom of the stone steps. This figure also exuded a transcendent aura, like he was one with the heavens and earth. This person was none other than a heavenly deity of the Qin clan. Clan leader is looking for me. This heavenly deity's name was Qin Zhong. He has already been at the heavenly deity realm for many years, but before Qin Zheng, he still had to maintain respect even though he was Qin Zheng's elder. Uncle Zhong, I have a matter that I need to trouble you to make a trip. Qin Zheng spoke. Qin Zhong was his clan uncle. Right. Qin Zhong nodded. He didn't ask what was the matter. I originally should have sent Dang Tian over for this matter. However, Dang Tian suffered some setbacks back then in the Tiandao Sacred Academy and has yet to exit his closed-door seclusion. I can only trouble Uncle Zhong to make a trip. Qin Zheng calmly spoke. Qin Zhong didn't mind. Clan leader, just speak your mind. Qin Zheng nodded. The Luotian clan sent a message saying that Qin Yuanfeng's son is currently in the Luotian clan. Head there and bring him to the Qin clan. Qin Zhong's eyes flashed as he curiously asked, Clan leader, the Luotian clan actually sent a message to the Qin clan? Right now, the internal strife in the Luotian clan is extremely serious. Luotian Mu wants to seize control of the Luotian clan. The strength he controls is already comparable to Luotian Chuan. It's just that he still needs the support of a few old fellows. Hence, he needs an opportunity. His attitude is that after he controls the Luotian clan, he will resolve the grudges between us and the Qin clan. Qin Zheng replied. So if I head to the Luotian clan, I only need to use the name of the Qin clan to capture the traitor's son and Luotian Mu will naturally cooperate? Qin Zheng asked. It's fine as long as he can restrict Luotian Chuan's side. The few old fellows of the Luotian clan have long lost their sharpness and don't wish to continue fighting against our Qin clan. If Luotian Chuan forcefully interferes, he wouldn't be far from the lower echelons. Qin Zheng casually spoke, as though he knew everything. All right, I'll set off right away. Qin Zheng nodded. Hurry up and use the fastest way to get there. Qin Zheng spoke. Qin Zheng turned and departed. If they delayed, there might be unforeseen circumstances. They naturally had to hurry to the Luotian clan in case Qin Wendian left. If Qin Yuanfeng was still alive, in that case, he would most probably appear after they captured Qin Wendian. Qin Wendian, who was in the Luotian clan, had no idea what happened in the Qin clan. He also didn't expect that someone from the Luotian clan would actually send news to the Qin clan. After all, the grudge between the Luotian clan and the Qin clan had a very long history. They were originally enemies. At this moment, Qin Wendian arrived at a gigantic public square on the Luotian mountain. Not only him, many experts from the various branches of the Luotian clan had gathered here as well. All of them were characters with some status in the Luotian clan. And at this moment, Qin Wendian could clearly sense the conflict between the various factions in the Luotian clan. The public square was split into two camps. One of the camps was led by the current clan leader of the Luotian clan, Luotian Chuan. And on the opposite side of the public square, an extremely imposing heavenly deity appeared. It was none other than Luotian Mu. Behind Luotian Mu, experts were as common as clouds. The number of experts gathered here was much more compared to Luotian Chuan's side. In addition, Qin Wendian also saw the two world overlords who entered the world of reincarnation together with Luotian Lei. His eyes flashed with coldness. These two betrayed Luotian Lei in the world of reincarnation. And it was precisely because of that incident that caused the internal conflict of the Luotian clan to escalate to this extent in the next 100 years. In fact, the experts of the Luotian clan had already started to take sides, putting the conflict on the surface, no longer concealing anything. Luotian Mu's gaze locked onto Qin Wendian with a single glance. After he sat down, he spoke to Qin Wendian, "You are Qianshua's son, right? I didn't expect you to grow so big in the blink of an eye and have such a high cultivation base, able to easily suppress powerful world overlords. Do you still remember the days when Qianshua grew up in the clan? How outstanding was she then? Sadly, she took the wrong path." This Luotian Mu's voice contained no anger at all. It was like he was speaking to a junior of the clan. How did he seem to be targeting Qin Wendian? As expected of a heavenly deity, his ability to maintain his composure had reached the point of perfection. Junior Qin Wendian pays his respects to senior. However, I can't agree with senior's words. From what I know, my mother has never walked the wrong path before. What senior thinks is wrong doesn't mean that it is wrong. Qin Wendian calmly replied, neither servile nor overbearing. What you said makes sense. Luotian Mu nodded lightly. However, many people around him had unfriendly gazes when they stared at Qin Wendian. This was especially so for those experts who came to Luotian Yu's residence earlier. They all knew that Qin Wendian was extremely arrogant and had no one in his eyes. He basically didn't have the people of the Luotian clan in his eyes at all. However, I heard that earlier you had some conflict with the people of the Luotian clan. You said that you came to the Luotian clan to visit your uncle and younger sister and have no connection with the Luotian clan. Is that right? Luotian Mu asked. Yes. Qin Wendian nodded. That's not right. I'm sure you also know about the matters in the past. Our Luotian clan had many conflicts with the Qin clan because of the matter regarding your parents. Right now, many of our juniors, elders, and parents have all died because of this, feeling so much pain that they wish they were dead. As for Qianshua, she could simply leave and leave everything to the clan. You are Qianshua's son, do you still think that you have no connection with the Luotian clan? Luo Shenmu calmly spoke, there was no trace of anger in his tone. Junior wishes to ask Senior. If the descendants of the seniors had conflicts with other major powers and were bullied, would the Luotian clan interfere? Qin Wentian asked. Luo Shenmu fell silent for a moment, he instantly understood Qin Wentian's meaning. He smiled, naturally. If the Luotian clan suffered losses because of this, would the Luotian clan blame the descendants of the seniors who were bullied? Qin Wentian calmly spoke, not dealing with the enemies but blaming the people of the clan instead. If the Luotian clan acts like this, I'm afraid we would become a laughing stock. If word of this spreads out, we would become a laughing stock. Impudent. A person berated. Can I ask for your advice? Which sentence is impudent? Qin Wentian stared at the person who berated as he calmly asked. Luo Shenmu waved his hand. He smiled at Qin Wentian, your words aren't without reason. However, back then the marriage between your parents was something the Luotian clan didn't allow and your mother insisted on doing things her own way. In the end, this led to some consequences. This is different from the example you mentioned. Regardless of right or wrong, if the Luotian clan can't even protect their own clansmen and even blame them, what's the point of the Luotian clan existing? Qin Wentian calmly mocked. Since Senior is so concerned about right or wrong, in that case back then in the world of reincarnation, the two world overlords of the Luotian clan betrayed their own clansmen and didn't even hesitate to act against them, wanting to send them to the hands of their enemies. Such despicable and shameful actions. Why can the two of them still appear among the people of the Luotian clan and not be expelled from the Luotian clan? When the two world overlords saw Qin Wentian pointing the spearhead at them, their eyes gleamed with coldness. I didn't expect Qin Yuanfeng's son to be such a sharp-tongued person. An old man mocked. Since Senior wants to argue, I will do so. Now that I can't win with logic, you even angered me and humiliated me. Such actions. Qin Wentian shook his head, not concealing the mockery in his tone at all. What you said is very logical. Luo Shenmu smiled and nodded. In the battle earlier, you wanted to slit the throat with a single sword strike. Such elegance, you do have the talent of your father back then. What you said earlier is very correct. It's hard to differentiate between logic and reason. Who is right and who is wrong isn't important. What's important is that if the Luotian clan can't even protect their own clansmen from being humiliated, they wouldn't be fit to be the Luotian clan. In that case, they insulted my father and my elder brother. Shouldn't they give me an explanation as well? Luo Shenlei coldly spoke. On the other hand, the clan leader of the Luotian clan, Luo Shenchuan, didn't say anything. He was waiting to see how Qin Wentian would react. They deserve it. Who else insulted you earlier? Step out now and slap yourselves for every sentence you say. Luo Shenmu's voice suddenly turned cold, becoming imposingly imposing. The expressions of the experts earlier stiffened. Many of them were world overlords, yet Luo Shenmu wanted them to slap themselves. Luo Shenchuan's eyes narrowed. This Luo Shenmu was truly ruthless. Was he preparing to be ruthless? Did you not hear my words? Luo Shenmu's voice grew even colder. The experts from the Luotian clan all walked out with unsightly expressions. However, they also understood that Luo Shenmu did this because he wanted to deal with Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's expression turned even colder when he saw this scene. Luo Shenmu wanted to find an excuse to deal with him. Luo Shenmu quietly stared at the experts who slapped themselves. After that, he turned to Qin Wentian, you also said it yourself. You came to the Luotian clan to visit your uncle and have nothing to do with the Luotian clan. Now, they have to pay a price for what they did. But you insulted someone from the Luotian clan and even pointed your sword at their throats. How should you resolve this matter? Someone insulted me and my uncle. I naturally have to retaliate. If Senior wants to act against me for the sake of juniors, I have nothing to say. Qin Wentian calmly smiled. If a heavenly deity acted against him, his grandfather who was the clan leader of the Luotian clan wouldn't be a decoration. I naturally won't act. Luo Shenmu spoke. Qin Wentian's smile grew even more radiant. Since this is the case, those who want to take revenge for what happened earlier, feel free to act against me. If you can slice my throat with your sword, I'll admit it. But if you can't and my throat is sliced instead, don't blame me. Arrogant. The experts on Luo Shenmu's side all had expressions of rage on their faces. This son of Qin Yuanfeng wasn't just an ordinary arrogance. He had everyone in his eyes and simply didn't have the experts of the Luotian clan in his eyes at all. Chapter 1856. Luo Shenmu stared at Qin Wentian. What arrogant words. I hope your strength is as strong as him. After speaking, he turned his gaze to Luo Shenchuan. Elder brother won't interfere, right? Luo Shenchuan glanced at Qin Wentian and nodded. Since things have already been made clear, Qin Wentian's matter can be considered a personal grudge. If someone wants to target him, I have no objections. However, if someone disregarded their status and acted, as his grandfather, I naturally won't stand idly by. Luo Shenchuan's attitude was very simple. If a heavenly deity didn't act, he wouldn't interfere. But if a heavenly deity acted to bully a junior, as a grandfather, he naturally wouldn't stand idly by. You guys have all heard it. Luo Shenmu spoke to the people around him. There was no need for him to interfere in the matters that would happen next. At this moment, a figure stepped out from behind Luo Shenmu. This was a hegemonic-level world overlord, Luo Shenlai. His strength was extremely powerful and could definitely be considered at the peak among world overlords. When the people around Luo Shenmu saw him acting, they all felt at ease in their hearts. This was already a sign of how highly they regarded Qin Wentian. After all, there were rumors in the supreme ancient immortal realms that Qin Wentian was extremely dazzling in the world of reincarnation. His combat prowess was extraordinary and he couldn't be taken lightly. Luo Shenlai's blazing rend world heart has already reached great heights, it could easily destroy an area of space. In addition, his defense was also extremely strong. At the world overlord level, there should be very few who could be his match. Qin Wentian stepped out, his steps were steady. He had a demon sword on his back and was clad in white. His entire body exuded a carefree aura. Let's go up. Luo Shenlai spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, he soared up into the air, soaring into the clouds. Qin Wentian's silhouette flashed as he soared into the air as well. Although there were heavenly deities present and they could control the aftershocks of their battle, they would still feel restricted. It was naturally the most convenient to fight in the air, there was no need for them to be affected by the terrain. The experts of the Luotian clan inclined their heads. Their gazes pierced through space and landed on the two people in the air. In an instant, a fearsome heat gushed forth from Luo Shenlai. His god-rearing talent was unleashed as a myriad of demons appeared. Behind him, the silhouette of a terrifying ancient demon appeared. This demonic beast resembled a fiery bird that resembled a golden crow. However, it had 9 heads and was bathed in golden flames. Each head could exhale scorching chi that could incinerate the heavens and earth. A terrifying golden flame extended through the air, instantly enveloping the entire space. The surroundings of Qin Wentian were also filled with golden flames. This was none other than the power of his Heavenheart mandate. It felt like anyone who was engulfed by these golden flames would be incinerated into nothingness. A screen of light appeared around Qin Wentian. This screen of light was extremely dazzling, wrapping his body within it. It was as if he was in an absolute space, not being eroded by his opponent's power and resisting the burning of the golden flames. Spatial Dao Art. Luo Shenlai's expression was calm when he saw this scene. Could Qin Wentian evade his attack just like this? The 9-headed fiery bird breathed out scorching chi. Wisps of illusory golden flames directly permeated the air, extending outwards. In an instant, the sea of clouds in the sky turned golden, resembling a sea of lava. Terrifying liquefied flames flowed within. Also, this was from the inside out. Even if one was in the void, they wouldn't be able to evade it. Qin Wendian could clearly sense that this energy had already engulfed his body, wanting to corrode the independent space he was in. When major characters of the Luotian clan acted, how could ordinary world overlords be able to compare to them? Congeal. Luotian Lai spoke. In an instant, the scorching heat in the air seemed to be about to congeal. Qin Wendian could sense that the surrounding space was about to congeal, sealed within the scorching lava. After this space congealed, most probably, it would transform into a space of death. Humph! Below, the people around Luotian Mu coldly snorted. Under the scorching heat, everything would be destroyed. Even if Qin Wendian managed to block the first wave of attacks, he would still be congealed within the lava. After that, his body would be disintegrated into countless fragments. This entire space, regardless of reality or illusion, everything would be the same. No one would be able to survive. How could the Heavenheart mandate of a hegemonic-level world overlord not be tyrannical? Where are your World Heart and Heavenheart mandates? Luotian Lai spoke, his voice like a great bell, capable of splitting the heavens and earth apart, exuding an incomparably tyrannical aura. Qin Wendian didn't reply. He inclined his head and stared at Luotian Lai. His eyes seemed to be able to penetrate through the boundless space as he stared into Luotian Lai's eyes. Luotian Lai also stared back at him. Their gazes locked, and in an instant, a wave of Tao might manifested. This gaze contained the Tao, it contained Qin Wendian's Tao. The congealed golden flames in the surroundings vanished. Luotian Lai discovered that he was in an independent space that seemed to be controlled by Qin Wendian. Luotian Lai's heart trembled slightly. A single gaze hiding the Tao actually forcefully brought him into this independent space. How tyrannical was this? My Heavenheart mandate and World Heart can be hidden within anything. The Tao is hidden within the Tao, there's no need for me to release it. Qin Wendian calmly spoke. The nine-headed firebird behind Luotian Lai was still there, spitting out terrifying golden flames. But almost in an instant, this independent space that was under Qin Wendian's absolute control was about to stop. However, the flowing golden flames didn't stop. Qin Wendian merely unleashed the power of time and space, it was unable to suppress Luotian Lai's power. However, Qin Wendian also moved. His sword hummed as he unsheathed his demon sword. Luotian Lai stared at Qin Wendian as his gaze grew heavy. He was prepared to block his attack, but Qin Wendian's sword light didn't attack him. Instead, it arced through the air in a resplendent arc. The sword light was cold, exuding a desolate killing intent. This scene caused Luotian Lai to be stunned as a strange look appeared on his face. What was Qin Wendian doing? How could there be such a sword art that didn't even attack others? Just when he was contemplating, Qin Wendian's body transformed into a beam of light, leaving behind countless beams of sword light around him. His speed was so fast that it was too much for the naked eye to follow. When Luotian Lai was surrounded by the sword light, he suddenly felt an extremely bad premonition. In the next instant, he saw the sword light shooting towards him. Each beam of sword light contained a Tao within, wanting to engulf him. Qin Wendian stood in the air. He slashed down with his sword. This sword strike directly slashed through the center of the sword light, activating all the sword light. And just when this thought appeared in their minds, they discovered that the dazzling Luotian Lai had already closed his eyes. His body powerlessly fell from the air, there was no longer any signs of life in him. It was like his life was sealed for eternity. This also meant that he had died. Luotian Lai's body continued falling downwards. Just when he was about to hit the ground, Luotian Mu waved his hand as a beam of light enveloped his body. After that, Luotian Lai's body landed before him. There were no injuries on Luotian Lai's body, but he had already lost all signs of life. In fact, many people couldn't tell how he died. Luotian Lai was killed by an evil art. The white-robed figure carried an ancient sword on his back as he slowly descended from the air. At this moment, the gazes of everyone landed on him, feeling shock in their hearts. No matter how Qin Wentian did it, he had indeed killed Luo Shenlai. There was no third party who interfered. This was an ironclad truth, placed before everyone's eyes. The Tao is hidden in the sword, the Tao is hidden in the eyes. Your cultivation base is very high. Luo Shenmu sighed. As a heavenly deity, he naturally knew how Qin Wentian did it. He didn't expect that Qin Wentian's comprehension of the Tao had already reached such a terrifying level. This sentence of very high was definitely true praise, so high that even Luo Shenmu couldn't help but sigh in admiration. A smile appeared in Luo Shenyu's eyes as he praised, awesome. Father. Luo Shenlei stared at her father in puzzlement. Luo Shenyu spoke, your elder brother's comprehension of the Tao isn't any weaker compared to me back then. Luo Shenlei's heart trembled. Back then, her father was a heavenly deity. Her elder brother's comprehension has actually reached such a level. Could it be because of the legendary place? As someone from the Luo Shen clan, she naturally knew how powerful Luo Shenlai was. He was a true hegemonic level existence, but he was so easily killed by her elder brother. In fact, many people didn't even understand how he did it. This indicated that his understanding of the Tao has already surpassed the vast majority of people here. If they couldn't understand it, they would naturally be inferior to him. Why must you do this? Luo Shenchuan sighed. No matter what, Luo Shenlai was a hegemonic level character of their Luo Shen clan. Now that he died, it was a loss to the Luo Shen clan. Naturally, although Luo Shenchuan sighed, he wouldn't sympathize with Luo Shenlai. After all, in the struggle for authority, such things would most probably happen frequently in the future. Father. Uncle Lai. Many people walked towards Luo Shenlai's corpse as grief and sorrow appeared on their faces. Their eyes were filled with hatred as they stared at Qin Wentian. What a ruthless method. Someone coldly spoke. Qin Wentian stared at those cold gazes, yet there wasn't too much of a fluctuation in his heart. He calmly replied, if he wins and I die, you guys would feel proud of how strong he is. Wouldn't you all be happy? Luo Shenmu shifted his gaze away from Qin Wentian. He stared at Luo Shenchuan, elder brother, you have a good grandson. Luo Shenchuan frowned. Luo Shenmu wanted to direct the anger of everyone onto him. And as expected, the expressions of many people in the Luo Shen clan changed when they looked at their clan leader. However, shouldn't the other culprit behind Luo Shenlai's death be him, Luo Shenmu? Naturally, Luo Shenchuan didn't argue. He calmly spoke, he is my grandson, I don't wish to see him die. I also don't wish to see anyone from the Luo Shen clan dying in battle. If you are truly thinking for the sake of the Luo Shen clan, just stop. Chapter 1857. When the people around Luo Shenmu heard Luo Shenchuan telling them to stop, many of them had expressions of rage on their faces. Stop. Clan leader is truly magnanimous. A hegemonic level expert of our Luo Shen clan has died here, causing the descendants of the Luo Shen clan to be filled with grief and indignation. Yet, clan leader actually wants to stop here. Seems like clan leader is still the same as before, willing to sacrifice the entire Luo Shen clan for his own selfish desires. Someone spoke, directly criticizing Luo Shenchuan. As the sound of his voice faded, even more people stared at Luo Shenchuan in anger. Clearly, there was a reason why these people supported Luo Shenmu. They felt that everything Luo Shenchuan did caused the Luo Shen clan to weaken. They hoped that the Luo Shen clan would have a new clan leader. Luo Shenchuan was speechless, he still didn't refute anything. As the clan leader, there were many things he naturally had to bear on his shoulders. However, if he couldn't even protect his own daughter, his own flesh and blood, how could he protect the entire Luo Shen clan? The current situation was not what he wanted to see. Luo Shenmu calmly watched everything. He walked to the side of Luo Shenlai's corpse and inclined his head, coldly staring at Qin Wentian. Since elder brother has such a good grandson and you want to protect him, in that case, the descendants of my Luo Shen clan can only die in vain. With that, he waved his hand and said, let's call it a day. Uncle Mu. Someone called out unwillingly. Many people stared at Luo Shenmu. Are we going to spare him just like that? He, of course, referred to Qin Wentian. Shut up. Luo Shenmu berated. What do you guys want me to do? My elder brother wants to protect his grandson, so what should I do? Should I continue to send you to your deaths? Elder brother's grandson, I'm afraid there's not a single world overlord in our Luo god clan who can defeat him. The eyes of everyone flashed, these people were filled with reluctance. At the same time, they felt shock in their hearts. They couldn't tell, but heavenly deities naturally could. Since Luo Shenmu said that Qin Wentian was so powerful, he naturally must be so. The Luoshan clan actually couldn't find a world overlord who could contend against him. The son of Qin Yuanfeng and Luoshan Qianxue had truly inherited their talent. In fact, there were even signs of him surpassing them. Could it be that you all wish to see the people of my Luoshan clan sending themselves to death? Luo Shenmu coldly spoke. Let's go, let's return and make arrangements for Lai's funeral. Many people stared at Qin Wentian with even more hatred when they heard Luo Shenmu's words. In fact, their cold gazes even turned to Luo Shenchuan. Qin Wentian quietly stood there, but his heart was cold. This Luo Shenmu, what a good method, inciting the anger of the people of the Luoshan clan, causing them to view his grandfather with hatred. In fact, he even had a feeling that this storm was intentionally created by Luo Shenmu. Regardless of whether Luo Shenlai killed him or was killed by him, the final winner would be him, Luo Shenmu. The experts all dispersed and left. Staring at the expressions in the eyes of the people from Luo Shenmu's faction as they left, an old man behind Luo Shenchuan walked out and reminded, "Clan leader, I'm afraid that Luo Shenmu is behind this matter." Evidently, they who were experienced in combat could faintly tell that Luo Shenmu was setting a trap for Luo Shenchuan. I know. Luo Shenchuan calmly replied. How could he not understand? This clan brother of his was extremely brilliant, or he wouldn't have so many supporters. In this battle, no matter what the ending was, the final beneficiary would always be Luo Shenmu. Could it be that those people can't tell? Someone behind Luo Shenchuan spoke in anger. Those who are directly involved can't see clearly. Luo Shenmu's actions have no flaws at all. In addition, even if people discovered it after the incident, since they support Luo Shenmu, they would naturally cooperate silently. A hegemonic-level world overlord calmly spoke. There's no need for you to kill him. After all, he is also a member of our Luoshan clan. Luo Shenchuan stared at Qin Wentian. If he cared about the fact that I have the Luoshan clan's bloodline in me and that I'm the grandson of the Luoshan clan's clan leader, he wouldn't have any killing intent towards me. But since he wanted to kill me, it means that he has never thought about you or the Luoshan clan's bloodline in me. He only wanted to protect himself or Luo Shenmu. Since this is the case, he naturally wouldn't show mercy to those on your side. Qin Wentian calmly replied. The struggle for power had always been cruel and cold. Showing mercy would only bring disaster to oneself. Luo Shenchuan naturally understood Qin Wentian's words. He silently didn't reply and departed the area. On the other side, after Luo Shenmu and the others left, some of the juniors of Luo Shenmu followed behind them. A young man asked, "Father, are we going to spare him just like that? Could it be that the deaths of the members of our Luoshan clan were for nothing?" Luo Shenmu's eyes flashed with coldness. Don't worry, Lai's death will have value. The eyes of the young man gleamed with sharpness. He stared at his father as he sighed in his heart. Seems like his father knew what was going on. He said that Uncle Lai's death would have value. The word value sounded a little cold. However, some sacrifices were unavoidable, wasn't that so? Qin Wentian stayed in the Thousand Snow Palace in the Luoshan clan. This was the place where his mother, Luoshan Qianxue, stayed in the past. Here, he could sense his mother's existence. During these few days, Qin Wentian would often head over to Luoshan Yu's place to accompany his uncle and chat about the past. Many of the conversations were about his mother. Luoshan Lei was naturally there as well. As his uncle spoke, Qin Wentian's impression of his mother grew deeper and deeper. She was a heaven-chosen of the Luotian clan and was known as a goddess. She was the daughter of the Luotian clan's clan leader and had unparalleled beauty as well as shocking talent. Once, she met Qin Yuanfeng, who was tempering himself outside. His father only managed to catch up to his mother because of his constant pestering. After that, his mother fell in love with his father, Qin Yuanfeng, disregarding all objections. Most probably, the setbacks and tribulations she experienced were even more intense compared to him and Qingcheng. What are you two chatting about? At this moment, a voice drifted over from Luoshan Yu's courtyard. After that, Luoshan Chuan appeared. Father. Luoshan Yu called out. Grandpa. Luoshan Lei also called out. Qin Wentian stared at Luoshan Chuan. During these few days, Luoshan Chuan didn't appear. Qin Wentian didn't know why Luoshan Chuan came here today. Most probably, Luoshan Chuan was looking for him. Nothing much, I'm just casually chatting. Luoshan Yu smiled. He didn't want to mention his younger sister, Luoshan Qianxue, in front of his father. He was afraid that his father would feel sad. Luoshan Chuan didn't continue asking. His gaze landed on Qin Wentian as he spoke. You have already been here for several days. It's about time for you to leave the Luoshan clan. Grandpa. Luoshan Lei's beautiful eyes froze. Elder brother has only stayed here for a few days. She didn't understand why her grandfather wanted to chase her elder brother out of the Luoshan clan. She could sense that her grandfather already had this grandson in his heart. If not, he wouldn't have summoned him to the Luoshan clan for a meeting. Qin Wentian stared at Luoshan Chuan. He could faintly guess the reason. After that, he nodded. All right, I'll leave now. Right now, his identity was already known to the world. His grandfather, Luoshan Chuan, wanted him to leave because he had no other choice. There's no need to be in such a hurry. You can leave tomorrow morning. Let Lei accompany you to roam around the Luoshan clan. Luoshan Chuan spoke. Qin Wentian stared at his grandfather's calm eyes and nodded lightly. Don't clash with others anymore. Luoshan Chuan reminded. After that, he turned and departed. When Luoshan Yu saw his father leaving, he sighed. Wentian, don't blame your grandfather. You have also seen the current situation of the Luoshan clan. It's very difficult for him. I understand. Qin Wentian nodded. He understood many things in his heart. The him now was no longer that ignorant young man. He was a character that was nearing the peak. With just one more step, he would be able to step into the deity realm. Elder brother. Luoshan Lei's beautiful eyes flashed with a hint of disappointment. It has only been a few days and her elder brother was going to leave again. Lei, we'll meet often in the future. Qin Wentian rubbed her head as he smiled. Emicham, Luoshan Lei nodded. She could only console herself like this. Early the next morning, on the Luoshan mountain, a gentle breeze blew. It was extremely comfortable. Qin Wentian came to Luoshan Yu's place to bid farewell and was preparing to leave. Luoshan Lei was here as well, but Luoshan Chuan wasn't here. Lei, I'm leaving. Will you miss me? Little rascal, who was on Qin Wentian's back, spoke in a baby voice. Luoshan Lei, who was originally feeling sad, was tickled by little rascal's words. She smiled, naturally. Boo-hoo, I'll miss you too. Little rascal leaped into Luoshan Lei's embrace and rubbed against her. Qin Wentian grabbed little rascal's tail and pulled him back. This fellow was still as shameless as ever, he mustn't indulge him. Elder brother, where are you preparing to go after we leave? Luoshan Lei asked. I haven't thought about it yet. Maybe I'll roam the desolate region for a while. Qin Wentian laughed. All right then. Contact me after you arrive at the place. I'll come and look for you. Luoshan Lei had a mischievous smile on her face. Qin Wentian rolled his eyes at her. Right now, it was no longer so safe for her to stay by his side. Let's go. Qin Wendian felt a little sad. He stared at everything before him, at his uncle and younger sister. He couldn't bear to leave just like this. Although Luo Shenlei felt sad as well, she still revealed a beautiful smile. Take good care of yourself and be careful. Luo Shenyu instructed. Qin Wendian turned and stepped out. However, just as he stepped out, a voice rang out, "Who dares to barge into my Luoshan clan?" This voice was like thunder, shaking the entire Luoshan mountain, echoing out for a distance of 10 million miles, causing the people of the Luoshan clan to be startled awake. All of them had looks of shock on their faces. From this, one could see that the strength of the intruder was extraordinary. Numerous figures soared into the air. Qin Wendian halted his steps. Luo Shenlei and Luo Shenyu also frowned. Qin Zhong from the Qin clan is here to pay a visit to the Luoshan clan. At this moment, a voice rang out, causing the hearts of Qin Wendian and Luo Shenyu to tremble. Qin Zhong from the Qin clan, a heavenly deity, came to pay a visit to the Luoshan clan. Boom! The entire space trembled. Qin Zhong stepped on the Luoshan mountain as a heavenly might bore down on him. Luoshan Chuan's figure appeared in the air. His gaze was extremely cold as he radiated a chill. A heavenly deity from the Qin clan came to the Luoshan clan. His intentions were clear even without saying. However, the news that Qin Wendian was in the Luoshan clan was only known by the people of the Luoshan clan. This meant that there was actually someone who informed their enemy, the Qin clan, about this matter. He told Qin Wendian to move away just in case. But in his heart, he still didn't believe that this news would leak out. The people of the Luoshan clan should know their limits. But clearly, he was wrong. Chapter 1858. Luoshan Chuan naturally understood that a heavenly deity from the Qin clan paid a visit to the Luoshan clan. He felt some disappointment. Although there was internal strife in the Luoshan clan, that was an internal matter of the Luoshan clan. The Qin clan and the Luoshan clan have had many years of grudge between them. Now, for the sake of seizing power, someone from the Qin clan was willing to sacrifice himself. How could this not cause him to feel pain in his heart? Although he knew that the attitude of these people was that they hoped to reconcile with the Qin clan after they seized power. After all, the current strength of the Luoshan clan was already inferior to the Qin clan. If not, how would the heavenly deities of the Qin clan dare to come to the Luoshan mountain to pay a visit? On the Luoshan mountain, countless experts appeared. They all saw an imposing figure flying over, descending upon the Luoshan clan. Someone from the Qin clan actually dares to come to my Luoshan mountain. Luoshan Chuan coldly spoke. His figure appeared before Qin Zhong. Today, I came here not because of the grudge between the Luoshan clan and the Qin clan. Let's not talk about this for now. Right now, the son of the traitor of my Qin clan, Qin Yuanfeng, is on the Luoshan mountain. I want to bring him away. I'm sure clan leader won't have any objections, right? Qin Zhong went straight to the point, not beating around the bush at all. He came here to take Qin Wendian away. What kind of place do you take the Luoshan mountain for? Luoshan Chuan coldly spoke. How could he allow Qin Zhong to bring Qin Wendian away so easily? If Qin Wendian landed in the hands of the Qin clan, he most probably wouldn't be able to escape. I naturally know what sort of place the Luoshan mountain is. Also, I didn't come here without any disrespect. It's just that the son of a traitor of my Qin clan, could it be that the Luoshan clan is going to protect him? Qin Zhong's voice turned cold. The Luoshan mountain isn't a place where the Qin clan can behave atrociously. Luoshan Chuan spoke. The Luoshan clan leader is so imposing. Does the Luoshan clan want to obstruct our Qin clan from capturing the traitor's son? If the Luoshan clan wants to do this, I'll have to stay in Luo City for a period of time and inform the experts of my Qin clan to come over to seek guidance from the Luoshan clan. Qin Zhong coldly spoke, his tone was filled with hints of threat. Threaten me? My Luoshan clan has nothing to fear. Luoshan Chuan's eyes grew colder. Elder brother. At this moment, a figure walked over. It was none other than Luo Shenmu. He spoke, "It's true that our Luoshan clan isn't afraid of trouble. However, we have to see if it's worth it or not. Qin Wendian himself has already said a few days ago that he has no connection with the Luoshan clan. In addition, he acted tyrannically in our Luoshan clan, threatening the disciples of our Luoshan clan and killing the hegemonic level experts of our Luoshan clan. I don't agree with you. Patriarch, please reconsider." Behind Luo Shenmu, someone bowed and called out. Luo Shenchuan stared at that person, his gaze was extremely cold. Only now did he understand the purpose of the battle a few days ago. So it turned out that before that, Luo Shenmu had already informed the Qin clan. If Luo Shenlai won, Qin Wendian would die. Right now, Luo Shenmu already had sufficient reason to make the Luoshan clan hand over Qin Wendian. He sighed in his heart. Seems like for the sake of the position of the Luoshan clan leader, Luo Shenmu was already unscrupulous. In fact, he even joined forces with the Qin clan, the enemy of the Luoshan clan, just to deal with him. This caused Luo Shenchuan to feel a chill in his heart. Those gazes staring at him also caused him to feel cold. You guys mean that since the Qin clan came to our Luoshan clan to demand for Qin Wendian, our Luoshan clan should obediently hand him over? Although Luo Shenchuan felt a chill in his heart, his voice didn't contain any anger at all. It was very calm, like he had seen through everything in the world. Naturally not. Luo Shenmu calmly spoke. It's just that our Qin clan has no need to protect a person who killed a disciple of our Qin clan. Because, let him leave the mountain himself. As for his fate, it has nothing to do with our Luoshan clan. If the Qin clan wants Qin Wendian, there shouldn't be a need for them to act on our Luoshan mountain, right? Naturally, as long as the Luoshan clan cooperates, I'm willing to wait at the foot of the mountain and won't disturb the Luoshan clan. Qin Zhong calmly spoke. Just like what Qin Zheng said, Luo Shenmu truly cooperated with him. He coldly laughed in his heart. The Luoshan clan was originally already on the path of decline. Right now, the internal strife was still so intense. Most probably, it wouldn't be long before the Luoshan clan's destruction. Elder brother, you heard it too. Luo Shenmu glanced at Luo Shenchuan. What if I say no? Luo Shenchuan didn't look at Qin Zhong, he stared at Luo Shenmu instead. Before this, when Qin Wendian fought against a disciple of my Luoshan clan, elder brother told me to consider the bigger picture and not to see any damage to the Luoshan clan. I did as elder brother said. Even when Qin Wendian killed a disciple of my Luoshan clan, I didn't act and didn't allow the Luoshan clan's people to continue fighting. Right now, elder brother, as the clan leader of the Luoshan clan, you control the fate of the Luoshan clan. Everything you do represents the attitude of the entire Luoshan clan. You should understand what you should do and not implicate the Luoshan clan for your own personal matters. Luo Shenmu calmly replied. It was like Luo Shenchuan's rejection was equivalent to him betraying the entire Luoshan clan. For the sake of this position, you truly put in so much effort. Luo Shenchuan sighed. This was hinting for him to abdicate. As long as he was no longer part of the Luoshan clan, his attitude wouldn't represent the Luoshan clan's attitude. This was his personal matter, there was no need to implicate the Luoshan clan. At this moment, Qin Wendian stood below with Luoshan Yu and Luoshan Lei beside him. He carried an ancient sword on his back and his white robes fluttered in the wind. His eyes were exceptionally cold. He naturally understood that he was betrayed by the Luoshan clan. Maybe, the word betrayed couldn't be used. His grandfather had his reasons for wanting him to leave. Right now, because of him, his grandfather was in a predicament. If his grandfather wanted to protect him, he most probably had to give up his position as the Luoshan clan's leader and protect him to leave using his personal identity. Despicable. Luoshan Yu's wrinkled face flashed with rage. He clenched his fists tightly, hating the fact that he couldn't fight now. If not, a great battle would surely ensue. This Luo Shenmu actually joined forces with his enemy. For the sake of achieving his goals, he was already willing to use any means necessary. Luotian Lei's beautiful eyes flashed with rage and nervousness. A heavenly deity from the Qin clan descended, forcing the Luotian clan to hand over Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian would surely encounter a calamity. Elders, what do you think? At this moment, Luotian Chuan spoke into the air. His elders were none other than the few old men of the Luotian clan. They had always been protecting the Luotian clan from the shadows. Although everything in the Luotian clan was decided by Luotian Chuan, the truth was that the status of these old men couldn't be underestimated. Right now, Luotian Mu could contend against him because he had the support of these old men from the Luotian clan. Usually, they wouldn't participate in the matters of the Luotian clan, but they had the authority to decide the overall situation of the Luotian clan. It's time to let go of some obsessions. A sigh rang out. Upon hearing this voice, Luotian Chuan's heart trembled. As for Luotian Mu, his eyes flashed with a resplendent light. Luotian Yu's eyes froze as his expression grew unsightly. Qin Wentian stared at the change in Luotian Yu's expression. Seems like the attitude of the owner of this voice was very important. The old man who spoke is a heavenly deity from the Luotian clan. He is a supporter of your grandfather. Luotian Yu spoke in a light voice. Qin Wentian naturally understood what this meant. Even the supporters of his grandfather persuaded him to give up. There was naturally no need to say anything more about Luotian Mu's supporters. His grandfather's position as the clan leader was already in imminent danger. In the air, Luotian Chuan's figure still stood there. His back was as straight as ever. After he heard that voice, he closed his eyes before opening them again. He was incomparably resolute as he spat out a single word, "No." This single word caused the entire Luotian clan to fall silent. It was completely silent on the Luotian mountain. Qin Wentian stared at that tall back view as he felt warmth in his heart. When he came to the Luotian clan and met his grandfather for the first time, his grandfather's might bore down on him. His grandfather's tone was cold, there was no sense of warmth at all. During the few days he stayed on the Luotian mountain, his grandfather didn't appear at all and didn't talk to him at all. All of this seemed to indicate that his grandfather was treating him coldly. But at this moment, this single word of "no" seemed to surpass 1,000 words. Many things didn't need to be said. A single word was sufficient. When Luotian Mu heard this word of "no," a cold smile appeared in his eyes. Everything finally progressed according to his predictions. He was getting closer and closer to his goal. Luotian clan leader, are you trying to interfere in the matters of my Qin clan? If this is the case, my Qin clan will naturally send experts to the Luotian mountain to demand an explanation. As a heavenly deity, how could Qin Zhong not understand what he should do? Right now, he naturally had to cooperate with Luotian Mu. Grandfather. At this moment, Qin Wentian spoke. He soared into the air and appeared behind Luotian Chuan. Luotian Chuan glanced at him only to see Qin Wentian smiling. Grandfather, I originally prepared to leave. I'll go down the mountain now. Elder brother. Luotian Lei was shocked as she called out. If Qin Wentian went down the mountain now, wouldn't that mean that he would be brought away by Qin Zhong? What sort of fate would be waiting for him? Luotian Chuan also stared at Qin Wentian. A warm smile could be seen on the face of this young man. When Luotian Chuan saw that smile, it was like he was looking at his own daughter. Grandfather, uncle, Lei, they all need you. Qin Wentian transmitted his voiceover. Luotian Yu's cultivation base was crippled, but he was still able to move freely like a mortal. This originally was something impossible. To cripple a heavenly deity, how terrifying of an injury must be. Being able to live on and not die of old age was all thanks to the resources of the Luotian clan. For this point, Qin Wentian learned of it from Lei. Lei said that his uncle had always hated him. Other than his uncle, there was also Lei and many others in the Luotian clan who had submitted to his grandfather. If his grandfather gave up the position of the Luotian clan leader, what would their ending be? Would they be the same as him? In addition, they might have to face the Qin clan, a powerful enemy. Heavenly deities weren't invincible existences. Qin Wendian couldn't be so selfish. He couldn't let his grandfather give up everything for him, causing his uncle and Lei to be in a difficult position. No way. Luotian Chuan decisively rejected. World overlords against heavenly deities, there would be no suspense. If Qin Wendian went down the mountain, it would be a path of no return. Qin Wendian was his grandson, the only flesh and blood of his daughter. Grandfather, I'm leaving. Take care. Qin Wendian bowed to Luotian Chuan. After that, he turned his head and glanced at his uncle and Luotian Lei. At the next moment, a spatial gate appeared as Qin Wendian directly soared through the air, heading to an unknown faraway place. You want to leave? Qin Zhong coldly laughed. His immortal sense swept through the air, traversing an unknown distance. Chapter 1859. The will of a heavenly deity could no longer be called immortal sense. It was divine sense instead. Under the divine sense, Qin Wendian basically had no way to hide. Although he could travel millions of miles in an instant, he could still feel the divine sense locking onto him. A faintly discernible energy circulated around him. You won't be able to escape. Qin Zhong's voice directly rang out in Qin Wendian's mind. Even Qin Zhong's silhouette appeared in his mind. It felt like Qin Zhong was right in front of him. Qin Wendian didn't care about the voice in his mind. He continued traversing through the void, even entering the void to flee. At an extremely far away place, Qin Zhong stepped out. Each step he took seemed to be traversing an entire world. His movements seemed very slow, but ordinary people wouldn't be able to imagine how far he could travel with each step. Your usage of the Tao of space isn't bad, allowing you to traverse the void. But under my divine sense, regardless of reality or illusion, you have no way to hide. Vile spawn, follow me back to the Qin clan. Don't seek trouble for yourself. Qin Zhong continued moving forward, speaking in a neither fast nor slow manner. It seemed like he wasn't in a hurry to capture Qin Wendian. To him, Qin Wendian was merely an object in his bag. He wanted to leave this place first in case Luotian Chuan interfered. After all, the mission Qin Zheng gave him had to be done well. If Luotian Chuan saw him capturing his grandson, he might act recklessly out of anger and stop him. Over at the Luotian clan side, Luotian Chuan also didn't expect Qin Wendian to be so decisive, actually choosing to leave just like that. He clenched his fists and wanted to chase after Qin Wendian. However, an old man appeared before him and shook his head at him. Luotian Chuan stared at the old man as he struggled in his heart. His expression was no longer as calm as before and was extremely unsightly to behold. Did he really have to watch his grandson being brought away by the Qin clan? Qin Wendian was his grandson, the son of Qinxue. If he was really brought away by the Qin clan, if Qinxue was still alive and knew that Qin Wendian was brought away before his eyes, she would definitely hate him, her father. Grandpa! Luotian Lei called out. Her heart was filled with pain and helplessness. Right now, only her grandpa could save her elder brother. Luotian Chuan drew in a deep breath. He stared at the satisfied smile in Luotian Mu's eyes as he sighed in his heart. He still sat on the position of the clan leader. It wasn't that he longed for power but rather, as a descendant of the Luotian clan, he had a responsibility. But now, the Luotian clan didn't seem to need him that much. Rather than exhausting the strength of the Luotian clan, he might as well give up. Luotian Chuan lifted his foot and was about to leave. But at this moment, Luotian Mu's silhouette flickered as he blocked Luotian Chuan's path. Elder brother, you are the clan leader of the Luotian clan and represent the Luotian clan. By interfering in the internal affairs of the Qin clan, could it be that you want to implicate the entire Luotian clan? I hope that elder brother can place the Luotian clan above all else. Since you want this position so much, I will give it to you. From now onwards, I will no longer be the clan leader of the Luotian clan. Luotian Chuan's voice rang out through the entire Luotian clan. Behind him, his supporters all stared at him in shock as they called out, "Clan leader." Luotian Chuan turned his head and stared at everyone. In the future, All of you have to work hard for the Luotian clan. I still have the same words. If I can't even protect my own kin, how can I protect the Luotian clan? From today onwards, I, Luotian Chuan, will no longer be the clan leader of the Luotian clan. The people behind him felt pain in their hearts. They supported Luotian Chuan precisely because of Luotian Chuan's unyielding character. Compared to him, Luotian Mu was too scheming and had powerful methods. They didn't like him. A few old men appeared. They stared at Luotian Chuan, some sighed, some coldly. A victorious smile could be seen on Luotian Mu's face. He once said that Luotian Lai's death would be worth it. Everything was as he had predicted. Given Luotian Chuan's personality, it was destined that he wouldn't be able to tolerate this. Since you have given up the position of clan leader, go and pay your respects to the ancestors and perform the abdication ceremony. The new clan leader will take over. An old man spoke. Luotian Chuan's expression changed. I will pay my respects to the ancestors after I return. No way. Seeing that Luotian Chuan wanted to leave, the old man blocked his path. As long as you don't perform the abdication ceremony, you will still be the clan leader of the Luotian clan. The things you do will still represent the attitude of the entire Luotian clan. They were all supporters of Luotian Mu and their ideals were the same as Luotian Mu. They naturally wouldn't allow Luotian Chuan to offend the Qin clan at such a crucial moment. They had to stop him no matter what, not allowing him to act against Qin Zhong. If a heavenly deity of the Qin clan was killed by Luotian Chuan, the hatred between them would surely deepen. Although they said that they wanted to perform the abdication ceremony, it was merely to stall for time. They didn't want Luotian Chuan to interfere in Qin Zhong's plan to capture Qin Wentian. Why must you be so overbearing? Luotian Chuan spoke in anger. His aura erupted forth as a heaven-shaking might engulfed the area. The old men all unleashed their might to defend against it. Luotian Mu stared at Luotian Chuan. Luotian Chuan, you want to act against a clan elder? Also, this is on the Luotian mountain. Luotian Chuan. Those old men who supported Luotian Chuan all had looks of disappointment on their faces as they shook their heads. If Luotian Chuan really acted, not only would he lose his position as the clan leader, he would also become a sinner of the Luotian clan. They didn't wish for things to end up like this. Etiquette cannot be abolished. The old man had a resolute look on his face as he calmly spoke. He was determined to stop Luotian Chuan. Father. Luotian Yu silently sighed in his heart. He didn't expect things would end up like this. Grandpa. Luotian Lei felt pain in her heart. Her cold eyes stared at Luotian Mu. Everything was finally going according to his wishes. Okay. Luotian Chuan spoke. After that, he stepped out and directly flew towards the ancestral hall of the Luotian clan. Since the other party was determined to stop him, he knew that he wouldn't be able to leave this place anytime soon. Father. When Luotian Lei saw this scene, she turned her gaze to Luotian Yu. Luotian Yu inclined his head and stared at the air, sighing endlessly in his heart. After abdicating the position of clan leader, he knew that it was impossible for his father and them to continue staying in the Luotian clan. Also, given his father's personality, he would most probably do the same as him in the past, heading to the Qin clan. Sadly, they were powerless to change everything. They could only feel boundless grief and anger. The majority of the people in the Luotian clan sighed in their hearts. They didn't expect that their Luotian clan would really end up like this. Although Luotian Mu won in the end, to the entire Luotian clan, was this really a victory? Most probably, from now onwards, the strength of the Luotian clan would become even weaker. How is elder brother? Luotian Lei prayed in her heart. However, she knew that her prayers were useless. Because this time around, her elder brother was facing a heavenly deity. If a heavenly deity from the Qin clan wanted to capture him, how could he escape? At this moment, Qin Wentian had already left the boundary of the Luotian mountain. In fact, he had already left Luo City and was speeding through the air. Qin Zhong's divine sense was still locked onto his location. Even though he was in the void, he had no way to escape the range of Qin Zhong's divine sense. Qin Zhong was certain that Luo Shenchuan wouldn't chase after him. His eyes flashed with coldness as he calmly spoke, Qin Wentian, I acted against your father in the past and now, I want to capture you as well. The affairs of the world are unpredictable, it's like a cycle of samsara. Follow me back to the Qin clan. As the sound of his voice faded, a surge of heavenly might descended, enveloping this entire space. The wind and clouds in the sky changed as a terrifying golden tempest manifested, revolving frenziedly. The entire sky seemed to be enveloped by heavenly might. At this moment, the people below all inclined their heads and stared at the sky as great waves rose in their hearts. What was going on? The sky was actually trembling as heavenly might descended. A god stood in the air, his entire body bathed in golden light. He was a true heavenly deity. Countless people below prostrated themselves in worship, there were even some who prostrated themselves on the ground. They actually saw a god. Divine might radiated from the heavens. To countless people, gods were supreme existences, they were existences that overlooked all living things. They prostrated themselves in worship, but in the eyes of gods, they didn't exist. All living things were like ants to them. In the air, Qin Zhong stood there. Behind him, an incomparably gigantic golden bell appeared, resembling the ancient bell of the heavenly Daos. This bell transformed into the heavenly Daos, as though it was born from the entire sky. It also seemed like it was Qin Zhong's astral soul. Since you don't want to surrender, then I can only do it myself. Qin Zhong calmly spoke. The ancient bell that transformed into the heavenly Daos radiated boundless light as the bell chimes rang out. This entire space seemed to be struck by a tribulation of heavenly Daos, splitting apart the void. Many experts who were prostrating themselves on the ground directly coughed out blood as their bodies trembled violently before they died. Their eyes were wide open, they died with regrets. Why did a god want to kill them? It wasn't that the god wanted to kill them. It was just that in the eyes of this god, they were no different from ants. The person he wanted to deal with was none other than Qin Wentian. The terrifying tribulation of heavenly Daos blasted into the void. Even if one was in the void, they still wouldn't be able to escape the punishment of this tribulation. Qin Wentian pulled out his sword. Resplendent Tao might erupted forth, slashing towards the incoming tribulation of heavenly Daos. A terrifying destructive might erupted forth, causing the entire space to collapse. Qin Wentian's silhouette appeared. When he saw so many innocent people dying here, his eyes gleamed with coldness. When he inclined his head and stared at Qin Zhong, an incomparably intense killing intent could be seen flickering in his eyes. Was this a heavenly deity? The people of the world prostrated themselves to him, yet he viewed them as ants. When the heavenly might descended, all lives would be annihilated as the innocent died. You still want me to act? Qin Zhong calmly spoke. Qin Wentian's eyes were cold to the extreme. He wielded the demon sword as his killing intent sword. Was he one of the people who acted against his father before? You actually have battle intent? Qin Zhong had a mocking smile on his face. Qin Wentian was like an ant trying to shake a tree, overestimating his own capabilities. Below heavenly deities, all lives were the same. They were nothing but ants. In their eyes, hegemonic-level world overlords were no different from mortals. The ancient bell on Qin Zhong's back transformed into the heavens. This world was the world of the ancient bell. Within it, heavenly might gushed forth, gushing forth. The gigantic ancient bell represented the heavenly Tao and was capable of unleashing world-destroying might. Boundless heavenly might gushed forth from the ancient bell as layers of light radiated downwards, wanting to destroy the heavens and earth. Qin Wentian's silhouette stood below the ancient bell. Under the might of the heavenly might, he seemed so tiny and insignificant. Chapter 1860. Qin Wentian's gaze turned solemn. Little rascal on his shoulder narrowed his eyes as he stared at the heavenly might. He had never faced such a powerful might before. With a single glance, Qin Wentian's eyes contained the Tao, the eye of heaven's will. In an instant, the entire world seemed to have fallen into his eye technique world. Qin Zhong, who was staring at Qin Wentian, started as a look of bewilderment flashed through his eyes. He was actually drawn into Qin Wentian's Tao. However, Qin Wentian actually wanted to fight against a heavenly deity? How ridiculous. Break. Qin Zhong spat out a word. The gigantic bell in the air cascaded down a beam of light, causing the heavens and earth to shatter. Qin Wentian's Tao was directly destroyed. He was still as insignificant as before, he could only stare up at the arrogant figure in the air. Qin Zhong coldly snorted. Seems like if he didn't teach Qin Wentian a lesson, Qin Wentian wouldn't obediently leave with him. Boom! The bell chimes rang out, wanting to shatter one's body. Qin Wentian felt that he was directly locked onto by the heavenly might. It was impossible for him to escape even if he wanted to. The light screen cascaded down. The heavenly might was like a calamity from the heavens, capable of splitting the heavens and earth apart. Qin Wentian's eyes gleamed with a terrifying light. Resplendent heaven heart mandates revolved around him, condensing the energy of his world heart together to protect him. Around him, time and space froze, all attacks stopped. At the same time, there were also countless powerful beams of light radiating from him. Heavenly might descended from the sky, directly blasting into the light screen around Qin Wentian. It ignored the power of time and space, destroying everything in its path. Qin Wentian groaned in misery as his body trembled violently. He coughed out a mouthful of blood as his countenance turned as pale as paper. Was this the power of a heavenly deity? This was the first time he faced a heavenly deity directly. Although he had seen battles between heavenly deities before, how could it be compared to personally experiencing it? Roar! A thunderous roar rang out. Little Rascal transformed into a golden primordial beast, like the king of all beasts. His baleful eyes stared at Qin Zhong in the air, flickering with a thirst for blood. It's actually a heaven-devouring beast. Qin Zhong looked interested. Interesting. He had not noticed the little monster beside Qin Wentian before. It seemed like it was a xenogeniac. The boundlessly huge ancient bell enveloped the world. Under the sky, countless golden ancient bells appeared. Each ancient bell was trembling and emitting a buzzing sound, emanating the might of the heavenly Tao. Qin Wentian was trapped deep within. This was like a dead end, he didn't even have the chance to escape. This was the heavenly Tao world of his opponent. The heavenly god's Tao was the heavenly Tao, and his will was the heavenly will. Stubborn fellow. If I accidentally get killed, I'm afraid I'll only be able to bring back a corpse. Qin Zhong said faintly. As soon as his voice fell, the ancient bells spun madly and blasted towards Qin Wentian. A sword domain suddenly appeared behind Qin Wentian. Countless killing swords danced in the air as the demon's sword in his hand hummed. That sword domain was the power of his astral soul. The resplendent light from it indicated that it originated from the 8th heavenly layer. The demon's sword in Qin Wentian's hand danced lightly. In an instant, the countless swords in his astral soul sword domain all danced in the air. Each of the swords in the sword domain seemed to contain the might of the Tao. At this moment, Qin Wentian was surrounded by a terrifying sword formation. It was unknown how powerful it was. These sword lights seemed to contain the Tao of spacetime, traversing through the void. Qin Zhong stared at Qin Wentian's actions as he frowned. Qin Wentian was only at the World Overlord realm, but his comprehension had already reached such a level. He was already very close to comprehending the Tao of heavenly deities. His astral soul started to radiate a power that only heavenly deities should have. This caused Qin Zhong to sigh in his heart. As expected of the son of Qin Yuanfeng and Luotian Qinxue. The blood of the Qin clan flowed in his body. Sadly, he was destined to die. After capturing him, Qin Zheng's next step was to lure Qin Yuanfeng out. Countless rays of resplendent energy from the ancient bell bore down on Qin Wentian's sword domain. Around Qin Wentian, an incomparably gigantic ancient character appeared, sword. This ancient word, sword, seemed to be the Tao itself, representing the power of this sword domain. The ancient bells that contained incomparable might descended, rushing into the sword domain. However, there wasn't any heaven-shaking collision. Instead, they sank into the sword domain, like they were directly buried within. This scene caused Qin Zhong to sigh in admiration. Sword. Qin Wentian's demon sword danced in the air. In an instant, boundless sword light shot out, soaring up into the clouds. In an instant, a sword river appeared in the sky, penetrating through space. Within the sword river, countless ancient bells of destruction appeared. The golden bells radiated an incomparable might, wanting to shatter the heavens. These ancient bells were the energy that attacked Qin Wentian earlier. Right now, under the guidance of Qin Wentian's sword, they started to devour Qin Wentian. The bells were born from my Tao. How can they devour me? Qin Zhong said indifferently. The gigantic ancient bell in the sky let out a chime. After that, the ancient bell shattered and exploded. The entire world seemed to have exploded at this moment as a destructive might wreaked havoc in a frenzy, giving birth to an extremely terrifying storm of destruction. Senior, where is the weakness of heavenly deities? Qin Wentian asked the sky-break heavenly deity in his mind. Heavenly deities have no weaknesses. If you want to defeat a heavenly deity, you have to break their Tao first. Only by breaking their Tao will you have a chance to kill them. However, this is something impossible to accomplish. The sky-break heavenly deity sighed. He was once a heavenly deity and knew how strong heavenly deities were. The Tao of this heavenly deity before him was that ancient bell of heavenly Tao. How could Qin Wentian break it? He also didn't expect that Qin Wentian would be able to fight against heavenly deities so quickly. According to his thoughts, if Qin Wentian was given more time, he would be able to slowly come into contact with heavenly deities on that level. Even if I can't accomplish it, I have to accomplish it. If not, I will die. Qin Wentian sighed. Either he broke his Tao or he died. There was no third choice. If he was brought back to the Qin clan, it would be no different from death. He couldn't bear to be captured by his enemies. That would be a form of humiliation to his father. He might as well die in battle. At the very least, he would still have an avatar. Under the Tao art of heavenly deities, there was no way to escape. He could only fight. Bzz. With a flash of his silhouette, Qin Wentian directly soared through the air, flying towards Qin Zhong who was in the air. Right now, his control over spatial energy had long since reached a transcendent level. Qin Zhong coldly stared at Qin Wentian's arrival. When Qin Wentian slashed out, he didn't even move. He could sense Qin Wentian's power, the power to freeze time and life, as well as an extremely tyrannical destructive might, all of them shot towards him. He didn't evade, allowing Qin Wentian's sword to pierce into his body. A crisp clanging sound rang out. To Qin Wentian's shock, he discovered that what he stabbed wasn't a body of flesh and blood. Rather, it was a type of Tao. Qin Zhong was a fusion of the Tao. As long as his Tao was unbroken, he would be indestructible. When Qin Wentian attacked Qin Zhong, it was like he was attacking the ancient bell of heavenly Tao. Heavenly deities had no flaws, they were invincible. Qin Zhong's body suddenly expanded in size. He opened his mouth and breathed out, it was like he had breathed out an ancient bell. With a deafening clang, Qin Wentian's entire body trembled. A terrifying force directly penetrated through his body, shaking his soul. His entire body was on the verge of collapse as he coughed out another mouthful of blood. Just a simple breath contained the power of heavenly might. Is this the strength of a heavenly deity? Qin Wentian truly experienced the strength of a heavenly deity. During these 100 years of seclusion, his improvement was extremely great. His comprehension in all aspects had undergone a transformation and he was much stronger than before. But even so, he still felt helpless before a heavenly deity. If it wasn't for your uncle wanting me to capture you, you would already be dead. Qin Zhong calmly spoke. Qin Zheng wanted people alive. When Qin Wendian heard the way Qin Wendian addressed him as uncle, his gaze turned even colder. The hand holding the sword in his hand became even more stable. Go. Qin Zhong spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, another incomparably gigantic ancient bell descended. This ancient bell contained the power to suppress the heavens and earth, ruthlessly pressing down on Qin Wendian. With a thunderous boom, Qin Wendian's body felt like it was about to be suppressed by this ancient bell. His body soared through the air, but the ancient bell also seemed to be able to traverse through the air, firmly locking onto him. Boom! A thunderous sound rang out. The ancient bell wanted to press Qin Wendian into the ground. However, Qin Wendian still stood there. The astral sword formation behind him erupted with a world-shaking sword might. With a single slash, a deep crater appeared on the ground. The ancient bell was also shattered. Qin Wendian coughed out blood. When he inclined his head and stared at Qin Zhong, he only saw that Qin Zhong's eyes were filled with disdain. From Qin Zhong's point of view, no matter how much Qin Wendian struggled, it would only be futile. He was simply asking for trouble. The heavenly Tao ancient bell radiated boundless light. More and more ancient bells descended, each containing the same amount of power as earlier, simply causing people to feel despair. Roar! Little Rascal let out a low roar. Don't act. Qin Wendian transmitted his voice to Little Rascal. Little Rascal's strength was still insufficient in front of a heavenly deity. It was useless. As the sound of his voice faded, he soared up into the air once more, transforming into a beam of light that shuttled through the air. Those ancient bells sealed this entire space and directly shot towards Qin Wendian. However, just when those ancient bells were about to crush him, Qin Wendian's body abruptly vanished. Space twisted and warped as Qin Wendian's silhouette once again appeared before Qin Zhong as he slashed out with his sword. Qin Zhong's eyes flashed, feeling somewhat surprised. However, his eyes were still filled with disdain. He lifted his palm and blasted out. Qin Wendian's body was directly blasted back, slamming into the ancient bells. All the bones in his body felt like they were about to shatter, but he still forcibly stabilized his body. It's time to end this, right? Qin Zhong calmly spoke. This son of Qin Yuanfeng truly had the same personality as his father. If he continued to fight, he would only be asking for trouble. Qin Wendian's eyes grew more resolute. Even though his body was covered in blood, his hand that was wielding the sword grew steadier and steadier. His body arced through the air in a beautiful arc, like a beam of light, rushing towards Qin Zhong for the third time. There was no hesitation at all, his expression was filled with determination and coldness. If one wanted to kill a heavenly deity, they had to first break their Tao. The Tao of heavenly deities was the heavenly Tao. How could one break it? Qin Zhong didn't seem to mind it at all, he stared at Qin Wendian's incoming silhouette. At this moment, a black-colored cudgel appeared in Qin Wendian's hands. It looked extremely ordinary and didn't exude any energy. However, Qin Wendian held it tightly in his left hand. Chapter 1861. Qin Zhong's gaze was as disdainful as ever. Qin Wendian was truly stubborn, he actually didn't want to give up. Qin Zhong was simply asking for trouble. Could it be that he had to cripple Qin Wendian and bring him away before Qin Wendian would give up? He coldly stared at Qin Wendian's descending body and didn't resist at all. He had already transformed into the heavenly Tao. How could Qin Wendian's attack be able to shake him? It was like an ant trying to shake a tree. Qin Zhong's body radiated with heavenly might as a cold light flashed in his eyes. He didn't intend to continue wasting time. Since Qin Wendian didn't want to give up, he would make sure that Qin Wendian would never forget this for the rest of his life. Behind him, rings of light from the ancient bell manifested, revolving frenziedly. The might of the great Tao pressed down, waiting for Qin Wendian's arrival. Qin Wendian's gaze was extremely cold. He arrived before Qin Zhong without any obstructions. The confident Qin Zhong didn't block at all. He simply waited for Qin Wendian's attack. Qin Wendian was overestimating his own capabilities. He was a heavenly deity. Below heavenly deities, all life was nothing but ants. At the instant Qin Wendian arrived before Qin Zhong, the sword in his right hand wasn't the first to erupt forth. Instead, it was the black cudgel in his left hand. This cudgel abruptly enlarged, resembling a heavenly pillar as it smashed down. With a thunderous boom, it directly smashed into Qin Zhong's gigantic body. However, it was like it had smashed into the ancient bell of heavenly Tao. An intense sound rang out, as though it wasn't made of flesh and blood at all. However, at the instant the black cudgel smashed down, the confident expression on Qin Zhong's face suddenly changed. His entire countenance contorted as an expression of pain appeared on his face. Disbelief could be seen in his eyes. It was like he didn't believe that a single strike from Qin Wendian would be able to shake him. When this cudgel smashed down, Qin Zhong felt as though his body and soul were about to be separated. His Tao became unstable as it trembled. However, how could Qin Wendian miss such a good opportunity? If he changed the flow of time, how many attacks could he unleash in an instant? For a period of time, countless black shadows appeared as thunderous booms filled the air. In that instant, it was unknown how many times the black cudgel slammed into Qin Zhong's body. As a heavenly deity, it was impossible for Qin Zhong to endure so many attacks in an instant. He should have long since reacted or retreated. However, he didn't. Under the trembling of his soul, even though he was a heavenly deity, his reaction speed still became sluggish. As a result, he had to endure so many attacks in an instant. Qin Zhong's entire person was in a daze. The entire sky was trembling madly, and after that, the heavenly Tao ancient bell shattered apart as the heavenly Tao energy within it crumbled. Qin Wendian glanced at Qin Zhong. This gaze was the eye of heaven's will. It contained a Tao art within it, bringing Qin Zhong into a domain of absolute control. Sword life. Qin Wendian spat out a word. Behind him, his astral sword domain erupted forth with a heaven-shaking sword might. Countless ancient sword characters floated in the air, each of them containing the power of the Tao. Qin Wendian slashed out with the sword in his hand. In an instant, the sword light from the ancient sword characters wanted to engulf Qin Zhong. The time Tao bone in his body radiated a terrifying power of time as the astral souls behind him were all released, boosting his attribute energy to the extreme. When dealing with a heavenly deity, since Qin Wendian already gained the initiative, he had to directly destroy his opponent. He mustn't give them any more chances, or the one who would be destroyed would be him. Hence, in an extremely short instant, the power Qin Wendian unleashed could truly be said to be heaven-shaking. It was like he wanted to freeze Qin Zhong's body within the boundless sword Tao, allowing him to endure the killing might of the 10,000 swords. A look of terror appeared in Qin Zhong's eyes. Qin Wendian had actually concealed his strength, all for the sake of unleashing his full power in an instant. Also, that black cudgel was a true divine weapon. Under the eruption of power from Qin Wendian, Qin Zhong's body was being torn apart bit by bit. His life force was on the verge of dissipating, but Qin Wendian's actions didn't stop. He was still attacking, only stopping when Qin Zhong's body was completely destroyed. His entire body was covered in sweat. Finally, was he able to kill Qin Zhong? Heavenly deities were too dangerous. If it wasn't for Qin Wendian being careless, if it wasn't for the black cudgel given to him by the crazy old freak, Qin Wendian wouldn't have any chance at all. But just when Qin Wendian relaxed, all of a sudden, an intense sense of danger gushed over. Qin Wendian sensed that something was wrong. He instantly retreated, entering the void. After that, an illusory figure appeared in the destroyed space before him. It seemed to be a soul. That soul shadow was none other than Qin Zhong. His eyes flashed with an incomparably terrifying killing intent. He was a heavenly deity, yet he was actually killed by Qin Wendian. A lofty heavenly deity was actually killed by an ant. How tragic was this? Qin Wendian's disguise had fooled him. He was too confident and gave Qin Wendian a chance. But this time around, he wouldn't give Qin Wendian another chance. Boom! The illusory figure transformed into an incomparably gigantic ancient bell. This ancient bell radiated boundless multicolored light, capable of suppressing everything. In an instant, the entire space was enveloped by the power of the ancient bell. Qin Wentian, who was in the void, was still being suppressed. After that, the ancient bell locked onto Qin Wentian and directly descended, shooting towards Qin Wentian. The golden light radiating from it was like a calamity of the heavenly Tao, capable of destroying everything. Qin Wentian frantically retreated. He kept the demon's sword and lifted that black cudgel once again. He could sense that this ancient bell was formed from Qin Wentian's soul. Only this black cudgel was the most suitable to block it. There was no way for him to retreat. That beam of multicolored light enveloped him. Qin Wentian felt a true destructive might. At this moment, Qin Zhong no longer held back. He was already in such a state, how could he still think of saving Qin Wentian? Right now, he only wanted Qin Wentian to die. Roar! Little rascal could sense that Qin Wentian was being threatened. He wanted to rush over. Scram! Qin Wentian fiercely flung him away. How would he let little rascal send himself to death? The black cudgel in his hand transformed into a towering black cudgel. Qin Wentian transformed into a giant, becoming incomparably gigantic. He lifted the god-slaying cudgel and the flow of time changed. With his fastest speed, he blasted it towards the multicolored light, aiming for that incomparably gigantic ancient bell. The god-slaying cudgel collided with the multicolored light, directly penetrating through it. This cudgel only targeted the soul. Even if it was the soul of a deity, it would still attack. That gigantic beam of multicolored light directly blasted into Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian only felt his body being destroyed bit by bit. He let out a roar of pain as his body gradually turned illusory. The ultimate strike of a heavenly deity, how powerful was that? However, Qin Wentian's god-slaying cudgel didn't stop. It continued blasting forward with extreme speed. Roar! From afar, little rascal let out a thunderous roar. He saw Qin Wentian's body turning illusory bit by bit, as though he would vanish at any moment. That incomparably gigantic body was about to vanish into thin air, turning into dust. However, under the attack of the multicolored light, even though he was behind Qin Wentian, even though he was very far away, he still suffered from the attack. He let out a roar of pain, but he had no strength to continue rushing forward. Boom! A thunderous boom rang out. It felt like the heavens and earth were collapsing. Qin Wentian's god-slaying cudgel slammed into the ancient bell, causing a heaven-shaking sound to echo out. The entire sky trembled as a storm of destruction ravaged this entire space. Qin Wentian's body was directly destroyed. The god-slaying cudgel also fell from the air. That ancient bell trembled madly. After that, a voice filled with sorrow and anger rang out, "I'm a heavenly deity, I'm unwilling." This voice shook the entire space for a distance of 10,000 miles. However, there was no one within 10,000 miles, they were all destroyed by Qin Wentian. As the sound of his voice faded, cracks gradually appeared on that ancient bell before it shattered into pieces. At the instant it shattered, an illusory silhouette of Qin Wentian appeared. However, it was the same as Qin Wentian's body, directly exploding into pieces as the entire space trembled once more. In this boundlessly vast space, everything was deathly silent, there was no sound at all. In this boundless space, an illusory silhouette could be seen floating there weakly. There was also the silhouette of a gigantic beast lying there on the verge of death. The god-slaying cudgel transformed back into an ordinary-looking black cudgel, quietly lying on the ground. Even if it was placed there, there might not be anyone who would pick it up. However, earlier, this ordinary-looking cudgel actually killed a heavenly deity. The silence in this space was as still as before. No one knew what happened here. However, there would be people who knew of Qin Wentian's death. In the Qin clan, a majestic palace exuded a majestic aura. At this moment, the peace of the Qin clan was broken. In the palace, many people were gathered here. Qin Zheng sat in the leader's seat, his expression was extremely unsightly to behold. Just today, not long ago, a calamity occurred in the Qin clan. A heavenly deity had fallen. The entire great hall was filled with deathly silence. Heavenly deities, supreme existences in the supreme ancient immortal realms. No matter which power they were in, they were truly peak characters. The death of a heavenly deity would definitely be a huge loss. Even to a hegemonic power like the Qin clan, it was the same. Clan leader, the Luotian clan must have interfered. Let's send our troops to the desolate region. Someone spoke, his expression was cold to the extreme as killing intent permeated the air. Since Qin Wendian died because he went to the Luotian clan to execute the clan leader's orders, Luotian Chuan must have done it. The Luotian clan actually dared to kill a heavenly deity of their Qin clan. This matter couldn't be tolerated. They could only attack the Luotian clan. Even if a war between peak powers erupted, they wouldn't hesitate. Since this involved the death of a heavenly deity, how could the Qin clan let this matter rest? Right. Qin Zheng only replied with a single word. There was no need for any reason or discussion when a heavenly deity died. They directly sent their troops to the Luotian clan. The Qin clan was shaken. Their experts moved out, preparing to head to the desolate region. But at this moment, the Luotian clan had no idea of this. They had just completed the handover of the position of clan leader. Luotian Mu finally ascended to the position of clan leader.